Greetings, everyone. And welcome to a very special contrary edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
It is contrary because before we came on, there was like 15 minutes of just us bitching at each other, disagreeing, personal attacks.
Yes,
but so we're in the really the top of our form right now.
Yes.
But yes,
Speaking of personal attacks, who are you, sir?
very nice.
Who are you?
Okay. I am Matt Weinhold.
I believe I am SHAWN Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
And for this episode, guess where we're at?
The birth of Monster Party.
The birth
really.
of Monster Party.
Right.
That's where we're at. We are at Comic-Con 2024.
Comic-Con 2024.
We're here. We're all together again.
Yes.
In the flesh.
In the flesh. And that's something that it really doesn't always happen.
No.
Yeah,
No,
I know.
very
These
rare.
days, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's nice to see you guys, and it's infuriating as well. And
Yes.
so, and that's really what makes Monster Party.
Exactly.
Is
Exactly.
the random emotions hitting you.
The
And
colorful dynamic.
yeah, I don't know what to feel or how to feel.
And if for listeners, if you're listening, if we sound like we have a lot of energy, there's a reason for it.
And Larry, could you tell us what that reason is?
Well, I knew that we were going to get together at Comic-Con some time ago. So about 4 months ago, I discovered a special energy drink only in Japan. It's a Godzilla -1 energy drink.
Oh,
How did you discover this?
Well, that's too long story. The exciting story is when
we're on the air now.
I know, but it's like
How long could it be?
So
what if you shortened it?
I actually ordered a case, okay?
Wow.
And because it was coming from Japan, it was they're not throwing it on a plane. It was coming on a ship or something. It was gonna take some time getting over here. But here's the thing that really tans my hide. So it's like
Tell me, Grandpa. What kind of malarkey were they throwing at you?
UPS person who dropped it off at some other address.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And not only that, they sent a picture and says, "Hey, your package has
I hate
been
that,
delivered."
right.
And I look at the picture; it's blurry. I can't tell where it is exactly.
gosh.
And the other thing is, you can't see an address. But it looks like there's some white chairs. I went to every neighbor in the block.
Oh, my
Couldn't
gosh.
find it anywhere. I was furious. And UPS sends this great little thing that says, I know it's not really Comic-Con, but they send this thing.
Sure
that
it
says,
is.
They send this thing that says, "So tell us about your service." And I go, "Terrible." I just gave this big thing and I complained. They got back to me. And apparently this guy who dropped it off, I don't know what his deal was, but he was sent out to try to track it down. The neighbor who got it dropped it off at our place.
Oh, that's nice.
That was very, very nice.
Otherwise, you probably could have not ever received after all that.
Because for what I paid, you guys had to have this energy drink.
my God.
And I've been dying to try this with you.
Well, first of all, I love the fact that this is one of those tall energy drink cans, and it has an awesome image of Godzilla -1 on
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
and
So gorgeous.
knowing the nature of energy drinks in general, I'm kind of glad all the ingredients are in Japanese, so I don't have to know what's actually in this.
Exactly,
However,
yeah.
it is actually delicious. I really like it.
So you
Okay,
do,
well, let's back up a little bit here. Delicious?
I really like it. It has this kind of berry,
it's blue.
kind
It's
of radioactive
blue.
berry taste.
radioactive blue.
So blue.
I like it
I
more than
like
the usual energy drink.
And
I
with
gotta say.
vodka, it's even better.
Okay, well, vodka helps everything.
So anyway, for listeners, if everyone seems a little uppity, it's because we're trying this.
You don't really know what the word
atomic-
uppity means, do you?
We're happy and peppy and bursting with love.
Yes, this atomic energy drink, Godzilla -1 energy drink that can only get in Japan.
But so let me explain something to you.
Because I'm such a great
You're
friend.
going to go on. The story's even longer.
Because I'm such a
Okay.
great friend, each of them gets their own can.
Yes,
that
thank
they
you
can
so
take
much.
home.
And yet you got a case. And we get one. Thanks, Larry.
Hey, I had to lug these over, okay?
Yes, no,
All
of course, of course.
You want another one? You want another one? Fine. You can have another one.
I'll take it.
So there it is.
Well, look, I had some of this, and it's not horrible, But you know what it reminded me of? You remember the little wax candies that had the juice in them?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what this carbonated version of that.
Okay, that's okay for me.
Look, it's fine, but it's you can't say like, oh boy, they came up with a very special taste.
No, I don't know. It's kaiju flavor.
You guys are so prejudiced. The fact that it has Godzilla.
It's Godzilla. Come on.
Okay, all right. No, that's fine.
Okay, look,
it's not. It's certainly not bad, and I love the can.
Yes. Anyway, so there it is for listeners.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you,
You got
Thank you.
Godzilla -1 energy
You've got a
drink.
strange energy tonight, Larry, because it seems like you're in a hurry and yet you want to slow things down.
No. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
But let's, now that everyone knows what we're on, let's talk about the con.
Look, can I just say something? I had 2 sips of this stuff, and I'm fine. And so the rest is Diet Coke. So I don't know where you guys are going to go, but I just want to sit and watch and just see this because I've never. First of all, I've been wanting to see Larry trip because you are right. We have no idea what the fuck is in these things.
Yeah, exactly.
So whatever the I'm sure psilocybin in Japan goes under another name and it's legal. It's a derivative of fugu is in this thing.
Fugu.
Yeah, fugu. Blowfish.
Right. Oh, yes. Right. You know what, though? I have to admit, this is really cool because we're in San Diego. It's in the evening, and you guys are all at the hotel that Gene and I got. We have the wives here, have some friends here, some guests arriving.
Yes.
And we got Doctor Who in the background.
Doctor Who's in the background.
On Pluto TV.
Pluto TV.
And we have James dressed as Snake Plissken. It's just very cool. This is the San Diego Comic-Con vibe. That
You didn't
I
even
love.
mention my cosplay. I'm Norman Mailer for this.
Yes, perfect, dead on. Yeah, but this is cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. And once again, it is always great to have you guys here in person because you do fill me. Forget about the energy drink. You guys are my energy drink. You guys fill me with that uppityness, as Larry would say.
that guarana.
And what's cool is James, like he's done in the past, has dressed up as Snake Plissken.
Yeah, this is your second round of this, right?
Yes, it is.
And getting a lot of. I mean, when I was walking around the con with you today, a lot of people were stopping and getting wanting your picture.
It's been many years since I did this, and I gained a lot of weight when I was in Greece a couple of times in the past. So it presented a personal goal to me because I needed to. This is a spandex vest. It's not forgiving at all, and I needed to work out like a madman and to try to eat better. And finally, went for it, and now I can pig out again. But
but you look good. I'm telling you,
You look good.
You really do.
Because you could have gone the whole like I'm Snake after he ate a gopher kind of a thing.
Well, the thing is, it's like if I could from the neck up, if I could make it work, and that I did. I had the hair just about the right
From the forehead up, that worked.
So it just Kurt Russell in that movie is very wiry. I do not have that body type. And I never will. I don't think. So I just have to be resigned to trying to make what I can work out of it. And
Sure.
I was pretty happy. I mean, a lot of what
you look great.
a lot of the compliments I heard was that it looked good, and that was all that it wasn't like, oh, that's who you're supposed to be. Okay, that which is not anything a cosplayer wants to hear.
Well, James, we saw today another Snake Plissken,
Oh, did you?
and it was pretty good, but the timer thing, not even in the same league as yours.
Oh, nice.
But one thing he did have that I don't remember if you had the first time and you don't have now is the cigar thing.
Well, no, because I didn't want to run into any issues with the security there, like, oh, there's no smoking here.
That's
that kind of
true.
thing.
Just in the spirit of Snake Plissken, the rebel who he is, you were afraid to bring maybe a fake cigarette into Comic-Con.
Did he have a fake cigarette?
Does that really count down the
Right.
time till? Do you have a real device inside your body that will blow you up?
Well, I'm just curious.
You don't understand cosplay, do you?
I would have actually loved to run into him so we could do photo ops together and pretend like we're having a snake off.
But I think you'd be good with the cigarilla or whatever the hell it was.
I thought he just had a cigarette in his mouth.
Look, It's not my life.
well,
the whole.
But
Listeners, please let us know
Please
what
call
Snake
in.
Plissken
Please call, if you could.
smoked.
This is the thing, Matt. I want to point out to how
Please.
good James did this costume here. Not only did he look great, but he also had the tattoo on his belly.
He did.
And
Yes,
the
yes,
funny
he
thing
did.
is,
It went all the way down too, right?
Well, what was neat was a woman stopped us. She wanted to get a photo of James, and then she said, "Oh, but do you have the tattoo?" And James lifts up his shirt and shows his little belly, and he said, "Oh, look at this," you know. And,
look at this.
Well, you didn't say that. You didn't say that, but she was really impressed.
you did
wasn't
that
she?
in the restroom too.
Well, honestly, I've done cosplay enough now for several years, and I cannot imagine doing Comic-Con again without doing cosplay because it's an
nice.
addiction. It has the kind of engagement with the show, with the entire population of the show. There's kind of a give and take. There's a random energy. It's heightened. It's exciting. To me, it's addictive, and I can't see ever doing Comic-Con again without cosplay
Oh, cool.
of one type or another.
Well, speaking of cosplay, our own Josh Gilliland, he did a wonderful panel, and we got to the showroom way early for the panel.
Is it Legal Geeks?
Yes, the
Right.
Legal Geeks panel.
Oh.
And it was tremendous. We'll have him on later, and he'll explain more.
I know where you're going here.
But we sit down, and it's a nice little opportunity sometimes to just rest. You sit in the chair and you look at your stuff, and we come in, and Larry's already there.
yes,
And for some reason, he's furious.
I'm irritated as hell.
he's not just annoyed or bored.
No,
He's furious.
I am.
I don't know the name of this show or whatever their podcast was.
Yeah, it was a podcast.
Oh, okay.
But they are a cosplaying podcast.
Yeah.
And they help people with tips on how to, make their cosplay better.
Yeah.
And so they had a nice little crowd.
They did.
Had people that really seemed to like them. Mm-hmm. And they seemed very nice. They seemed to genuinely love their listeners.
Did they?
Absolutely, they did. And if you don't think that, you didn't see the same panel. They were
I was
bringing
there.
people
I was
up
right next to you.
every time they would. Well, again, I don't understand what you saw because people would go up, they'd show their costumes off, and these people would compliment them and say, "Great job!" and "Oh, I like
Yeah.
what you did," and "Hey, it took me a long time to do the sanding on this one." It's like,
That's a great theme for a podcast.
It is. It is
to
very-
offer advice and be experts.
But
like that.
here's the thing. So now a cosplay podcast, they were kind of doing their own little cosplay.
Oh, is that what that
That
was?
is absolutely what it was, Larry. They had sunglasses on, and for some reason, to Larry, that was a giant finger to him. That
Yes.
was the middle finger to his face.
It's very rude.
Why is that rude? It's a cosplay.
No.
Well, what was he cosplaying as?
Well, they were just their
No.
own little characters.
See, no. They weren't
Yes,
dressed
yes,
up as characters.
yes.
No, they were dressed up as themselves, Sean, and they were wearing sunglasses. Like, hey, I'm cool because I'm
That's
doing
what they
this
were saying.
podcast.
Yeah.
And no, there's more than that. So he wasn't there. Matt wasn't there at the beginning. Look, let me just tell you something.
Tell me.
When we have our guest Josh Gilliland on, he'll explain to you that when your panel starts, you start. You start, "Hi, I'm so-and-so.
Oh, I get where this is going. Okay.
And these guys are all, "Hey, and Bill, whoa, how's your car doing? Oh, my car's doing fine, man." And,
I'm going to find the tape of this.
you're
And if
all
they're not
about-
talking about their
and
car, I'm going to be very upset.
Not only were they wearing sunglasses, one of them actually said, they said, "Hey, are you texting?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm always texting when we're doing our show." And I'm like, oh, so the people who are listening, the people who came to see you, you don't even care about them because
They do
you are
care.
texting.
But maybe
during the
that's
show.
part of
No,
their characters.
that's
though.
part of their
I mean,
thing.
Okay, well, that's
yeah,
terrible.
That's their shtick. But
That is terrible.
We have our own
We have
specific
our own
shtick.
chemistry.
How would you feel, Sean, if you're talking and I'm going, "Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna text something is more
But
important."
again,
No, it's rude. It's rude. No, it's
Larry,
rude.
you used to call our guests clowns. What are you talking about?
Okay, first of all, I don't call guests clowns.
You did
well,
every show.
that was.
Oh, that was part of your character. Oh, the rules change, do they?
Look, that guest, bless him, he
Yes.
said something kind of ridiculous, and I went
Oh,
off,
so
and,
it's
you thought was
so
ridiculous.
So it's fine to be rude when you want to. Okay. So now here's the deal. Now I understand that you could be annoyed by the way that they handled their podcast. That's perfectly fair. But my problem is your level of anger. If you don't like how they did that, then that's just a style thing, or you think they could be more professional. But they weren't bad people. They loved their fans. Obviously, there were a lot of people there who had been listening to them for a while. They had some woman come up. She read some poem about how much she liked cosplay and what it did to her life, and everybody was very supportive, and it was very nice.
Hey, let me just say this. There are certain rules that you should abide by.
Dude,
when
are
you
there?
yes,
I didn't get these at birth.
When people go to see your panel, okay, you need to treat these people with respect.
And they
Thank
did.
You. Okay. No, well, you weren't there at the beginning, okay?
What did they say?
And look. I also went to, my daughter was with me last year when we went to it was like a Rick and Morty.
Well, that sounds different.
And
that's a different thing.
There was an offshoot show that these producers were doing.
It was it Solar?
I don't
Solar
remember.
Opposites?
Solar Opposites?
But I remember
that's the other show.
The way they came off was they couldn't give a shit about their audience,
and that's
terrible.
And
it made me, and they were like joking with each other on the panel where you had all these, people who were into it,
fans,
and I thought to myself, it's like the show is really successful, and it's like, hey, look at me, I'm on top of the world, hey, I'm so great, and I can. It's like that Justin Bieber thing where I can spit on you from my balcony, and you're gonna love it, and that feeling is something I hate. It's like you should be grateful, you should be thankful that people come to see your panel, or if listeners are listening to you, and I just thought the way they came off at the beginning, it was disrespectful to the people in the audience. And I know about the kids got up and started saying, I made my costume, and what do you think?
They were very nice to
Yes,
them.
of course they were. Yes, they were. I'm just saying, as they got started.
But what you're saying is like this disrespectful thing. Now, there are certain podcasts that are a little bit more meandering in the beginning because their whole thing is like, hey, what we want to do is we want to present ourselves as just regular Joes.
I knew that.
Regular people who are just like you. And that's why we do a little small talk. And we bat that stuff around, and that's how it goes.
It depends on the podcast.
It depends on the podcast. But I didn't see, unless something drastic happened, aside from this giant slight about wearing sunglasses indoors.
Who does that, Matt? Who does that?
Cosplay.
No, they weren't. No. See, everyone in the room was
you're saying
what were they?
but
they were wearing sunglasses, and was there some kind of costume?
Yes, there were. One guy had a cowboy hat. Another guy had a little uniform.
Cowboy hat.
They had matching uniforms. The one guy in front had like his little like admiral's cap.
A captain's cap.
Okay, well, so you don't like his style of cosplaying. Then all of a sudden now he's disrespectful to you.
Okay, let's say you're going to go see your mother-in-law, okay? And you go inside and you have your sunglasses on inside.
Is she cosplaying? Or am I cosplaying? Did my mother-in-law, she goes like,
do you have your sunglasses on? Do you have your sunglasses? You answer the question, sir. Do you have your sunglasses on?
I have my sunglasses on because my mother-in-law went to my cosplaying panel. And she saw me and she went, "Oh, look at he's cosplaying."
One thing
cute?
One thing I think that we can all agree on.
Shut up, James. No, go
is
ahead.
that cosplay, the subject of cosplay, is a constant at Comic-Con, and it's part of the experience of Comic-Con to observe cosplayers. And every year there seems to be a dominant costume that you see. I remember one year it was Harley Quinn. There were Harley Quinns everywhere. One year it was the Joker. This year, I saw a few Deadpools and a few Wolverines.
Quite a few.
Yeah, that's the most of what I've seen.
And I saw a lot of Luffies from One Piece, the anime. A lot of guys wearing those straw hats.
Oh, okay.
Which is a pretty easy costume.
Right.
So I get why they did that. Otherwise, kind of a wide variety.
Well, yeah. I for cosplay for me too, like, no matter how impressive the costume, or even if it's just like a little something, it's cool. It's like I said, it's the coolest place to see that, to see what people are into. You know, whether it's an actual licensed character or their own kind of thing. You know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you would think Comic-Con is this place where you can just walk around a place and wear your sunglasses and your admiral's cap, and no one will give you a hard time.
Yeah, at Comic-Con.
Now, Larry and I the other day saw a guy who was a great Spock, and he had on the whole
Now,
outfit.
this sounds-
he had the hair. It was great. Looked a little bit more like the Zachary Quinto, and he was wearing that.
Okay, right.
That top, that tunic, but he didn't have the ears. And I'm thinking, dude, what
Seriously?
the hell? You're not wearing
Now,
the ears?
I'd be furious about that.
yeah, that's an offense.
I was.
He should be removed from the con.
He should, yes.
But see, this is
Yeah.
what we don't know.
By Starfleet security.
We don't know if, let's say, you know, he went to the restroom, you know, and one of the ears fell
Maybe he
off.
lost an ear, and so
Or maybe it was the end of the day.
Okay, no, it wasn't the end of the day.
Okay, well, maybe it was the beginning of the day and he hadn't finished
it was
everything.
the middle,
middle. It was
middle
the
of
middle.
the day.
Maybe
It was exactly
maybe
the
it was
middle.
the middle of the day.
So
It was
okay,
and he
near
was
the
having a Spock break.
so look,
It was near the end of the middle of the day. Okay.
So look, let's say you lose an ear. Okay, it's like, okay, what if you're the Hobbit and you lose half a foot or something?
Right, yeah,
so
yeah.
Do you go, oh shoot, I'm going to walk around the rest of the con with only half an
Yeah,
ear?
cosplay
I would-
emergency.
yeah, I mean, I think I would take the ear off and go, well, at least I could be a Star Trek
I'll
guy.
give him the benefit of the doubt. I think that's probably what happened. But I've also seen some good with like a few boys characters. Like there was the Deep. A guy
Oh,
who was-
really?
wow,
I didn't
that's
see that.
cool.
It was an A Train and a
Oh.
Black Noir.
Nice.
And the Black Noir gave me a compliment, and I complimented him back.
Nice.
So that was cool.
What was the compliment?
He said, "You look great," and I said, "You look great too."
Oh, okay.
Cool.
You know. So anyway, the whole cosplay thing is a big part of Comic-Con, and it's fun. It's just part of this whole big parade.
Yeah. Did you notice isn't it strange though? This year Gene and I came Friday. Friday seems so crowded in the dealer's room, like really, really
Yeah.
crowded. But today on Saturday it seemed a little better.
Really?
It was
This was the least crowded Saturday I've ever seen.
yeah. I mean, night like actually kind of not like actually almost pleasant to walk through the aisles.
It felt
you know?
like preview night usually is.
Well, get this. So James and I were here on Wednesday night. Go ahead.
Preview night. And preview night is usually like today was. Like you can walk around, the AC is great, you don't have to bump into anybody. Wednesday night was like a Saturday. here.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we brought Monster Party flyers to leave up at the freebie table.
Right.
And they disappeared in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
I was
That's
like,
good.
Yes.
how many people are here on preview night? This is
Wow.
nuts.
Okay.
So it's backwards now.
Okay. Well, if
Unbelievable.
you're a listener for the first time listening to this podcast because you picked up a flyer at San Diego, welcome.
Yeah.
To
And this
Monster
is
Party.
always the way it's like.
No, it's not always like this.
See?
No,
It is.
Okay. So you were talking about cosplay and stuff like that, and that's
Yes,
great.
that's right.
But there is one thing that really irritated me about.
Another one.
Well, okay.
Let me get my clipboard.
No, and let's say, okay, look, there's a lot of great booths there.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
I'm sure we'll talk about things that we purchase and stuff, but there was a particular item that I thought, you know, I might get this item at the Funko booth. Now, I know you guys aren't Funko fans.
No.
But there was
Not these days.
there's a Godzilla that looked kind of cool and green. And I thought, you know, maybe I'll stand in line.
Well, was it kind of super deformed, or was
Yeah,
it?
it's like a standard. It's like your standard Funko figure, okay?
Oh, okay.
And it's
A
a
pop
Godzilla
figure.
pop figure.
Oh,
Yeah.
now wait. I have a question. Actually, of all the Pop figures made since Pop started doing these, have they ever made a Godzilla?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Okay.
My
I've seen
daughter picked up some for me, but you know, these were not exclusive.
Legendary ones. I've seen a lot of those.
Yeah, that's what I have.
gotcha.
And so there was this exclusive, and he's green. And I thought, oh, okay. So I go to Funko. I couldn't believe it. So it's like, there's a line. All right, I'm going to stand in line. And I go to the end of the line, like you know, like normal. I said,
Pretty long line.
pretty long line, but I get there, and I said, so is this the end of the line? He goes, oh, you have to download some kind of order thing
Oh, for
and
God's
get
sake.
a place in line. And I'm like, wait a minute. I can't just go. Oh no! You need to go online. You need to register. You
That-
need to get.
that is annoying.
And that thing, my head
Yeah,
exploded.
yeah. It's
And I'm
become
all-
so complicated just to like purchase an item.
But
like,
but Sean, here's the thing that boggles my mind. It's like we've talked about this year after year about I just don't see the big thing about the Funkos, but people are willing to go through these steps.
I know. And
that line was huge.
It's not the popularity has certainly not diminished.
No, and they continually, come out with new figures and stuff like that. But I was so irritated. I said, you know what? I think I'll do without that figure. I don't. Yeah.
Good for you. Because nowadays to see a panel or to get to a signing or to purchase a toy to go into one of the big booths, it's so complicated now. You just can't just walk right into anything anymore.
But the funny thing is the incident was so irritating. I talked to James about it, and we said, when we go back to the hotel, let's see if we can watch that Comic-Con video we did, 10 years ago?
2013, 11 years ago.
11 years ago. And the funny thing is, there were things that we were irritated about.
Right.
And we thought, have things changed, James?
Pet peeves. No, things have not changed for the most part. There's still a lot to be pissed off about.
Pet peeves, therapy.
No. It's like you see something at the con and that a booth has, and go, oh, I want to get it. Oh, it's not here. That's
actually, my wife experienced that today.
Gina, I believe her name is.
What? No.
It's that energy.
My wife, Gina, she saw a Hallmark Dune figure, right? Paul Atreides Hallmark ornament.
From the new one?
Yeah.
I bet it has more movement in its face than the actual actor.
Whatever.
On.
But it's a really cool figure and not that expensive. And we got in line, but then that was one where I was like, oh, you have to order that. It's not available yet, kind of thing.
Okay, wow.
So, that still happens.
Do Zendaya yet?
No.
I can't wait for that.
Make sure to get you
That's
one.
That's going to be great. Yeah.
But there is. But you know what though? I'm telling you, Larry, I really enjoyed, this weekend. I mean, I bought one thing, and it was at Super 7. I bought the rainbow-colored Hawaiian-themed Hedera. It's like the little multicolored Hedera, because I have the glow-in-the-dark and the regular one, so had to have that one.
And you didn't get the Jet Jaguar and Godzilla shaking hands?
I mean, I love it, but I have Jet Jaguar figure already.
Okay.
All three of us did.
Why don't we take a moment to talk about one of the best booths here this year?
Yeah,
it was the Super 7 booth.
Super 7, yeah.
And what you just said, Matt, they had that great figure. And on a past show, I talked about in Godzilla vs. Megalon, my favorite scene in the movie is at the end when Jet Jaguar is shaking hands with Godzilla, and Godzilla looks at him and goes, "Rawr." and they heard that on our podcast, and they made those figures.
I would like to think that.
No, but that's what I believe, because it's there.
Yeah, it's great.
That's the best moment.
The packaging is so cool too, because you want to keep it in the package.
You know what? And James, did you get it?
I sure did.
You got it?
Normally, James rips things out of the package.
But I can
what
see.
are you doing?
No, it'll stay in the package because it's a display piece, the way it is. And the packaging is also modeled after the original Japanese poster of Godzilla vs. Megalon. It's got the same colors, the splashy yellow.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
It's just beautiful.
It's funny how, when I originally saw Godzilla vs. Megalon, Jet Jaguar didn't do it for me. It's like, this is ridiculous.
It's an Ultraman ripoff.
Did you? It was. But now I love Jet Jaguar. It's like
the whole thing grows on you because
it does.
So absurd.
It's so absurd that's awesome.
And the fact that Godzilla is shaking hands with a robot, and the robot somehow, you're going to get any kind of real emotion from a
Godzilla
robot.
is shaking hands with anybody.
And also
right.
And also that a robot is able to will himself to become giant.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
And the fact
they should do that with food.
And the fact that his creator on just a spur of a moment said, I think I'll call him Jet Jaguar. What the hell? Where did that come from?
Because he never had a son, and so he always wanted to name his son Jet Jaguar.
It's just so absurd.
Look,
but I love Jet Jaguar.
Look. Okay, does he look like Ultraman? Yes, he does, and that's why I liked him instantly.
Well, Ultraman-esque, but
yes.
I mean in that same genre.
I wanted to be that little kid who his dad was a toy maker,
the paddle boat.
Yeah, the paddle boat.
Paddle boat's cool.
And I mean, I wanted one of those.
Yeah.
And I saw that film in the theater when it came out, and I was so excited.
Yeah,
and
no, it's cool. I mean, I love. Like I said, I love that movie more and more. And the fact that they're putting out collectibles around Megalon now.
But here it is. It's like, goodness, it's like 40 years later. 40 years later. That moment that I love so much has been
a toy made
created into a toy.
Yeah, I know.
And I am so excited. But that's not the only thing, Sean. That's not the only thing.
Okay.
And we all grew up with Aurora model kits. right?
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The Super 7 made the miniature Godzilla model.
I know.
Now, I will say, they don't have it here. You ordered it. But
Right, I saw
because
it, right.
I asked the guys about it. They said it was supposed to be here.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't delivered in time. And he
Gotcha.
says, so because of that, the shipping was free.
Oh, cool.
So that's what I did.
That's nice.
I ordered, and which was
That's
fun.
nice because I mean I had that Aurora model kit, one of my favorite
Yes.
Aurora model kits.
But
I have the original.
But probably one of the best things they had, in their booth was a creature from the Black Lagoon
Yes,
on a
that's right.
tricycle.
Larry, you know, I was gonna get it, but I'm like the tricycle ones I have are all kind of the kaiju
Yes.
Japanese monsters,
Yes.
and because you know I've got to be careful with the money these days. But
No.
but that figure, it's so cute, so
It
awesome.
is.
The box and the
box
artwork
art
is great.
So
Yeah.
and reasonably priced at $60.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that is a
And
that
the
is-
creature, if he wanted to ride a tricycle, it would be that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And he looks so happy.
It's one of the best figures I've seen at the convention. Actually,
And it's cute for listeners. He's actually a very cute creature, and he looks wet. It looks like he was in the pool or in the Black Lagoon, and he came out and he goes, "I'm going to go on my tricycle now."
That's exactly that's how I would hear it.
I
yeah.
want them to do a Creature Walks Among Us version where now he no longer has his gills and he just tricycles directly into the ocean and
drowns.
dies.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding,
Now,
ding.
I will say this:
Ding.
what is kind of sad. I was hoping that they had tons of them. They didn't. They sold out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
So they're already clowns. People on eBay
sure,
were
yeah.
selling them for over $200.
yeah. Oh, I know.
And,
but look, that's what that's why like the Hedera $20.
Yeah.
and it's beautiful.
It is
And it's so
beautiful.
cool. So you know, as you know, I collect Hederas, as featured on MeTV's Collector's Call.
As far as the booths this year, Super 7 wins. They beat NECA. They beat any other booth as far as what they have available. The
Yeah.
What they have
exclusive
available,
devices.
yeah. I mean, NECA is doing some wonderful work.
Yeah,
But nothing available, and the exclusives NECA had this year. I mean, there's a glow-in-the-dark Nosferatu, which is cute, but all the
cool.
other ones are like Alf, which they had last year, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which isn't our wheelhouse.
It's not. No,
Are
it's
people
not our
really
thing.
into Alf? Is there a big Alf
has
surge
never.
out here?
We've talked about this before. Like, Elf never.
Anyone
seen
here in the room like Alf? Am I
Anyone?
missing something?
Alf? Yell if you like
Oh,
Alf.
we have one. We have
we got a
one.
couple. We
Oh,
have,
yeah.
so one person, yay.
Oh.
Two person.
He loved that.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
And then we got an ambivalence.
Yeah, but
okay.
the popularity never seems to have waned. Like it's,
It's
always
weird, Sean.
I know
It's weird.
It's kind of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, it's
But that's
continually
like if
popular.
you grew up with it.
Yeah.
It seems like
Yes.
that. There are a bunch of touchstone things that I always hear people bring up of a certain age, and it's like that. He-Man,
Gremlins.
right? Yeah.
Right.
So again, I get it. There are things that I collect and like, and then if I explain them to someone who didn't grow up with it, they might just go,
Right,
well, "I
right.
don't get it," and it makes sense because you want those things that are like touchstones to your childhood,
Right.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of NECA, though, one of the toy lines that is so incredible is the little kids wearing the Ben Cooper.
Oh, fantastic.
costumes and
Fantastic.
Like that's such a cool kind of trend because there's a couple of different companies making that kind of thing, right?
Well, actually, there was a guy on Facebook, Alexander Jeffnick, I think his name is, and I purchased their Mego size.
Yeah, right.
And there's a variety of ones that he makes, but he makes them himself.
Okay.
So they're much more expensive, but again, they're Mego size.
Okay,
and they're
but now,
beautiful.
and now NECA has come out with these
Yes,
amazing
and they're
figures.
smaller. They're
Yeah.
smaller
Because they're in scale.
Yeah,
well,
with
they're
like
more-
with like a 6 or 8 inch.
yeah, no,
With
they're
like a
smaller.
Mego size.
They're smaller. They're
Yeah, but they're kids.
Yeah, they're
little kids. So
They're
yeah,
kids.
right.
So it's funny because some people have said, "Oh, they're ripping off Alexander's idea." It's like, well, I mean, we all love these Ben
Yeah,
Cooper
yeah.
costumes to make figures with the costumes. I think it's such a great idea. The funny thing is, their first group of figures, 5 figures, included a little girl wearing the Ben Cooper creature from the Black Lagoon outfit from the 1970s.
Yep.
That set is gone.
Really?
And
Really?
people are selling the little girl by herself
Oh my God.
for over $200.
Jeez. Yeah, it's a beautiful figure.
And now I purchased those right when they came out. And of course, I got to get the second and the third series. In their third series, there's an alien, a kid wearing the
and
alien
a Gremlins
costume.
mask, I think.
Yeah, and
I like those, but I like the 70s era masks
No,
better.
I
though.
only The dumber they are, the better they are.
right.
I want them to do the worst ones ever.
You want the
Right.
you want the Rubik's Cube one.
Yes.
Is what you want.
I want the Village People one.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
That would make me very happy. Well, guys, we were just bringing up in the past, it seems like a million years ago now.
Yes.
The panels that we attended.
Yes, some poor ones and some great ones.
But we can
Great
all agree that certainly my favorite panel of the entire con was put together by a little group called the Legal Geeks.
Yes.
Headed by friend of the show, Josh Gilliland. And wouldn't you know it, he's right here.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Josh Gilliland.
Gentlemen, it's so good to see all of you.
Good to see you.
Josh, thank God you're here.
And I just have to say, you did a couple panels, and they were terrific. It's funny because I'm not sure what to expect, but they were both so great, informative, and I felt like I learned something.
Thank you. That really means a lot. We had a lot of fun putting them together.
Yeah. Now, what was your first panel that you did?
So Thursday night at 6, we had the Law of the Transformers called Lawyer Bots Roll Out. And we celebrated 40 years of Transformers. So,
Wow.
And what was great was there were people, first of all, there were a bunch of legal people in the audience, and then there were die-hard Transformer fans. Now, I'm not necessarily a Transformer fan, but, I know of it and stuff, but there were die-hard fans in there. And they held you guys. And what was great, there was this one young lady who, towards the end, had this question, goes, but, da-da-da-da-da, and you politely said, well, we decided to concentrate on the first season. And that saved everything. And that made her go, oh, okay, that's all right. But it was great.
So let me get this straight. So you had a very, very angry person who was upset about nothing, really.
No,
And-
she had a good point.
She did. Oh, okay. All right. And but you handled it well. You handled it with finesse and class, and you maintain the integrity of your show. And that's the thing that I always get from the Legal Geeks. The Legal Geeks should be something that is taught in schools.
I agree.
Right? Because seriously, because it's a really accessible way to teach people about law in a way that is fun.
Yeah.
And
entertaining.
Yeah. And
The lessons are universal.
And if you're watching a television show or a movie, you're usually not thinking about the legal real world implications of what's going on. And what the Legal Geeks panels do is bring to mind these things and educate you and make you more sensitive to them.
Josh brings on real lawyers and judges. The Transformers there was lawyers, and they each had specific topics that they brought up. And I just thought that was great.
Thank you. So the panelists were fantastic. So there was Mark Zaid from Washington, D.C., who's a national security lawyer. He's on CNN all the time because when, let's just say, a former president of the United States keeps classified documents in the bathroom, people call him to talk about it.
is that from the Acolyte?
No. He could go off on the Acolyte as well. We had one of my buddies from law school who was, again, we're the same age, and we loved the Transformers because we were like 10 and 11 when the show came out. Mm-hmm. It premiered on my 10th birthday. And for those who do math, they can realize the 40th anniversary, what that means for me personally. And it was a formative part of my childhood. The comic was hard-hitting and went into much deeper, complex issues. And the cartoon was just fun. Peter Cullen's voice as Optimus Prime was just neat. And that actor just leans into it so well. Seeing him at events and in interviews talking about how he came up with the voice for the character, super endearing. I can say there is one federal judge that has his autograph in chambers.
Nice.
Yeah, because he's kind of like the James Earl Jones of Transformers.
Absolutely, because
Right.
he's the heroic leader, and you want to have that inspiring character that sticks to it to the end. That's purpose is clear.
So one of the things that I thought was interesting is so some of the topics, like does a transformer have to register with the DMV, right? But there were other really great ones, and these attorneys, one of them said they talked about the self-driving cars, and there were so many interesting things that they could apply to the Transformers.
Well, that and the initial cartoon touches on energy use in very creative ways, from not just fossil fuels, because you watch it and it's like, wow, this was produced by big oil, but there's also renewable energies and multiple forms of it, which today it's like, well, that's cool.
Forward thinking.
Yeah, it's like there's hydroelectric, and it's like you watch it, it's like, so somebody was thinking about this, with the Earth being this rich natural resource for having renewable energies that these robots need. And that's one of the giant themes throughout it. And we had one of the lawyers, she does a lot of environmental law. So it was like right up her alley in being able to get into that.
That's cool.
Especially with issue 14 of the comic, which is a parody of a Bruce Springsteen concert in the 80s. Because the rock and roll music was able to generate so much power. And this is at a time when Springsteen was doing like the 5-6 hour concerts. And it's like, okay, that does make sense. That would.
I went to one, and it was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yep. My aunt did too. And and when we were at WonderCon, she went again to see Springsteen. So yeah, it's like, I haven't checked that bucket list, and I would like to. But that's not important right now. What is Robots in Disguise, and it was just such a love letter. Like one of the friends of my show has a toy booth that's full of Transformers toys. And just looking at all of them, I was like flashing back. It's like, I had those.
We visited him today.
Awesome. He is a wonderful human being, super sweet, the pinnacle of representing the best of the legal profession.
Yeah.
And he loves Transformers. And it's
That's so cool. That's
so
so cool.
sweet.
Now, Josh, wasn't there also a timeliness to this panel? Because this year at Comic-Con, wasn't there a Transformers panel announcement, like a major announcement?
Yeah, they showed Transformers 1, which is the new anime that's coming out.
Oh, okay.
That Chris Hemsworth is one of the voices.
Oh, nice.
And I look forward to seeing it. It premiered, I think, on Thursday, and I was a little busy getting ready for our panel.
Yeah.
So I did not brave Hall H to see it. But again, I've been, 4/5 of my life, I've enjoyed Transformers. So I'm looking forward to seeing another movie.
Yeah.
Josh, me too. I mean, I took my driver's test on Optimus Prime.
So you got a commercial license?
Yeah.
Okay, interstate? Wow, that's fantastic, man.
So look, you did Transformers, but then the next panel you had was the Acolyte.
Yeah, Law of the Acolyte. So
And you had 3 judges, which blew me away.
federal judges. So
Federal.
Oh my God.
one from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, Judge John Owens, who is brilliant. He was first in his class at Stanford, appointed to the bench by Obama. And hearing him opine, and reading his legal opinions on cases is a treat, because he'll occasionally work in like an Indiana Jones reference or something.
That's great.
But he's a very smart, thoughtful person. And hearing him get into complex legal issues that are presented in The Acolyte, from a police interrogation that the Jedi are doing, where they don't say, like, you have the right to counsel. The person's in a compartment and they can't leave. And being able to say, like, well, this would be similar to the Craig's Head opinion, which breaks down factors for a police interrogation when someone's at home, and whether or not the doors open can have an impact on that analysis.
It was great. That was so great, because I learned so much, because they brought up, they go, now in the scene, you can see there's a door open, but they don't actually say you can leave at any time. So, and there was like this borderline thing, but everything that they brought up, I just thought was brilliant. And I really, even if you're not a big fan of the show, all those legal issues that come up. I mean, it's really fascinating.
Yes, and thank you for saying that. Judge Stacey Beckerman from Portland. She's just cool.
She's the greatest.
So smart, and seeing her get into this legal analysis, because when we were hanging out in the pro room, just discussing, bouncing legal issues back and forth on whether or not the tracker who was following someone by scent, if a search warrant's needed for that, and then the search dog cases that exist, that sometimes the answer is yes and sometimes the answer is no. And Judge Beckerman is very thoughtful. She was a federal prosecutor as well, and a litigator at a big firm. So hearing her analysis, and moreover, she loves Star Wars. She loves Godzilla. She is such a brilliant geek, and takes the day job so seriously. So being able to have moments like this,
That's cool. Yeah.
I mean,
She brought up something about there was the creature that goes on your face.
Yes,
And she brought that up, remember?
yeah, and so Dibot.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's DYBBT. Like it's like, is there a vowel?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, this is why I watch with the subtitles. Whether or not that would be legal, and there are situations with prisoners in prison where they can be medicated if they're being a danger to themselves or others. And when that character's seen later on with the creature off of his face, he's out of control and dangerous. It's like, okay, I get that. But you then pivot to, you can muzzle someone if they're spitting. So there's precedent for that. You get the Hannibal Lecter look.
Right.
It's like, so if they're ripping off faces, it's like, okay. But again, that medicating someone, like, there's rules that have to be followed by that, because there are a lot of throwaway lines in Star Trek episodes with, like, yes, we used the truth serum on them. It's like,
Right.
whoa, like, no, we don't
Federation
do that.
approved?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, Spock says it twice. The man trap, first episode. And like, so again, like red flags, but there's mind reading that takes place without regard to civil rights.
Well, and then later on in Star Trek, they do a lot of episodes where they question the ethics of mind melds and enforced mind melds. There's something in Enterprise that does a great job with that. But one of the things that I also really love about your panels is that when you have people that come up and ask questions, a lot of these people, I'm assuming, are also lawyers or at least, well-versed in legal matters. And speaking of that creature that you were just describing, someone brought up the issue of if you were hurting an animal, because this thing is a living creature, and by using it in this way, are you abusing an animal?
Yeah, and the person who asked that, she's been attending our panels for years. I think she's a teacher.
Oh.
She there's a video clip that's one of my favorite video clips where she asked if this Jedi versus Sith get into some religious freedom issues and religious discrimination, depending on who's on top and in control of a government at any particular time, what that can cross into hate crimes. And so like, she's profoundly thoughtful. I don't know her name, but I love her because she is always there for us and asks fantastic questions.
Great question.
Cool. Very cool.
But there was also a guy who said, he asked a great question, and you go, your voice sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Who was that guy?
So his name's Chris. He's an attorney from Detroit, and on Instagram, X, and TikTok, he's Star Wars lawyer. And his analysis is so darn good. And watching like instant responses. He posted a video where he got Ashley Eckstein's autograph, who was Ahsoka in the animated series. And they revoice a scene from Rebels where it was Ahsoka versus Vader. And he does a damn good Vader. And also cosplays as Vader.
Wow.
And like, I saw him in the front row. I was like, that looks like him, but I'm not sure. And then when he got up and spoke, I went, it's him. and it was like he came out from Detroit. I got to chat with him afterwards.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're all going to Star Wars Celebration in Tokyo in 2025.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm going to Tokyo, and I understand you guys know a little bit about that. So
Just a little bit.
So
Yeah.
I will be reaching out for some advice.
Oh, yes, for sure.
We got you covered.
Yeah, but he's a delightful human being and very sweet, and it was so nice to actually see him in person and get to talk with him.
It's awesome.
Now, in the past, you've done trials. This
Yes.
time, it was a panel where you bring up a bunch of different topics, and the lawyers and the judges talk about stuff. But I really love that trial. The Jaws trial that you did a couple of years ago.
2019, yeah.
That was so...
Actually, 2022, yeah.
But it was so good because we didn't know how the judge was going to rule.
Yes.
Now, do you have plans to try to do a trial next time?
The answer is a solid maybe. So there's we pitched one. We pitched a war crimes trial of General Veers this year.
Ooh,
and
Star Wars. Yeah.
that was declined. But well, again, you pitch 5 and you see what they go for, because this year they went with for an anniversary. And they went for something current. Others that were pitched, two of them were going to do at San Diego Comic Fest in October, because I've been in talks and provided nothing changes. But I want to do one on the 85th anniversary of Marvel, because this year is the 85th anniversary of Timely Comics, which become Marvel.
Right.
And
Cool.
so being able to talk about the Submariner and the original Human Torch, for the time that Vision took over America's nuclear arsenal, there's a rich history over 85 years for those of us who've been reading those comics. I haven't been here for all 85, but it's also the 40th anniversary of the Search for Spock. And that's one of my favorite Star Trek movies.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
It means a lot to me. And being able to discuss stealing the Enterprise and all of the
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
all of the legal issues that they go through, and it becomes Kirk's new worst day of his life, and he retains core values. Think of the scene where they're on the cliff, Krug's hanging off the cliff.
Right.
Kirk reaches out his hand to pull him up.
That's right.
And, which is every Starfleet captain tries to save their enemy.
Yes.
And this guy just killed his kid. He had to destroy a ship.
Yeah.
He
That's
right.
still tries to save him.
Right.
And then we get the best kiss off line
Yes.
ever. So
I've had enough of you.
so good. So good. And Moltz Chohiku. So being able to talk about that is something I really want to do. So if all goes well, we'll get to do that at Comic Fest.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
that'd
awesome.
be great.
That's terrific. And one of the things that came up during the panel, the Acolyte panel, was, I think it was even before it started.
We had 5 minutes of free time.
That's
so
right.
I was polling the audience for ideas for future panels.
Yeah, and there were some great ideas. And then
I remember it. Yeah,
a young lad named Matt Weinhold
a plucky.
raised his hand. You called on him, and he said, "How about the human centipede?"
The legal things about the human centipede.
So for human experimentation, I did think about this, because that's not what I want to do. But to help with your curiosity
Thank you.
now,
Okay.
with human experimentation, we've adopted the Nuremberg laws pretty much across the planet, that you don't experiment on human beings without their consent, because of Mingala.
Yeah.
A bad man.
It's bad, bad.
We've also gone out of the way to rename conditions that Nazi doctors identified, like rheumatoid arthritis, that was originally named after a Nazi doctor. And
Really? Wow.
And so it's no longer named after a Nazi doctor. So he can be forgotten to history.
Great.
Okay.
And so there are rules. So the idea of
Right.
sewing people together, there are some consent elements that need to be met.
Okay. Well, I immediately I have a
You're not
question.
going to.
then.
You're not going to consent to that.
Well, but
Yeah,
what if you do though?
There are other.
Maybe I'll be the middle. Yeah, it's okay.
Look, you know what? It's not for me to judge how three people love each other.
Well, I have to jump in here because I know there's at least a few listeners out there who are reminded at this point of a South Park episode.
Yes, with the terms of service.
Terms of service on an Apple contract.
Yes.
Where you don't read the whole thing, you just sign it, and before you know it, you're sewed to the back of someone else.
I believe in you, yes. Do I have the white rice or the katata fish?
One of the best South Park episodes ever.
I have been to me. Yes.
See, the human centipede has brought so much joy to the world.
Now, I noticed there's a...
No, I'm not done yet.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Matt, I love you so much, buddy.
Do you really?
I do.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was... Now you made me lose my train of thought.
Great.
Yes, you
now.
did.
I really did.
I was going to say, for listeners out there, I know not everyone has seen The Human Centipede, and I actually have crossed over a leaf, and I've said I told Matt I am ready to see it. I wanted to do it at his house.
I know he's sincere. I know
sincere. I'm
he's
ready.
A trustworthy man.
I'm ready. They'll let me hold on to the security pillow. And, but yes, I am ready. And look, it's not for everybody. I'm really sure.
Thanks for that, Larry. It's not a Pixar film.
No.
And if there was a Pixar version, it would
be awesome.
And I don't want this to turn into the Human Centipede episode. But
I think it just did.
That's coming soon.
Tough luck, sucker.
But the point here is that Josh, as Legal Geeks, brings up a lot of great legal stuff about many different topics. And I just really, really enjoyed seeing those. And if you haven't checked out the Legal Geeks podcast, I think you should check it out. Yeah. How long have you been doing it now, Josh?
We formed the Legal Geeks in July of 2012. We started doing San Diego Comic-Con in 2015, and I love this show. The first cons that we presented at was actually San Diego Comic Fest, and so I'm very proud of those shows, and we'll do all that I can to support them. I also want to highlight that this year's been really good for some pop culture. So some of the stuff that I purchased today was a bunch of Ultraman toys.
Really?
Good for you.
Nice.
And if you haven't seen Ultraman Rising on Netflix,
okay,
I highly recommend it. It came out Father's Day weekend.
All
Is
right.
it good?
It's super endearing. It is. It was just. I know. It was a great intro to Ultraman.
Is it?
I think it is, because you don't need 60 years of Ultraman history to enjoy it. So if it's a family watching it and the kids like it, the parents can go, well, let's just start with season 1.
Or let's say you're just a regular Joe out there, and you go, I want to
trademark copyright.
No, I just want to check out some Ultraman. It's a good thing to.
I enjoyed it because it's a very family friendly.
I was just going to ask. So this is more aimed at little kids.
It's more aimed at
the whole family.
The whole family.
Okay.
Fun for the whole family.
Okay.
It's
Like the Human Centipede.
compared to the other Ultraman anime that came out that was 3 seasons. That was based upon the manga.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yes.
Because
That's pretty good, though.
It's excellent.
It's just more dark and adult.
Yeah, it's more dark and adult.
Okay.
This one's very family friendly. And just watching, I was like, okay, this releasing at Father's Day weekend was perfect. So.
But, Josh, the only initial problem that I have with this thing, and I haven't seen it, and I am going to see it, and it looks like it could be fun, but come on, Larry, I know you're going to be with me on this one, but sometimes isn't there a thing with the aesthetic of how they design the character that sometimes there are things that just bug you? And with that one, I don't understand the shape of him. Why he's like Kate Moss or something.
It's really skinny.
But if someone stretched her out.
There's a little bit of that.
It's more stylized in look.
Just a little. Again, it's a very anime look. And there were things that I enjoyed from the fact that Ultraman is a baseball player for the Giants.
I don't know what that is.
I do.
So he plays for the Giants.
That's so cool.
Japanese Giants.
Yes.
Even better.
Very
But he
good.
played for the LA Dodgers before going home to Japan.
This is starting to lose me. This thing. Sports and what else are we going to get in there?
So lots of Ultraman references.
Okay,
Lots
okay,
and lots
okay,
of Ultraman references. Other things that were fun this year, My Adventures with Superman. Abnormally adorable as well. On HBO Max, animated, geared at kids, but it was a nice Superman story. And this was season 2. Started watching Kite Man, Hell Gap, put together by the same people who did the Harley Quinn.
Oh, okay.
And so it's off the wall bonkers.
Great.
Comedy. I did other shopping. I got lots of geeky tikis.
Did you?
So
Which ones?
some of they're the small ones that were con exclusives. One that are different troopers.
Oh, right.
It's kind of cool.
And others that were from the prequels. So it's Padme and the Emperor and
The prequels.
Because I'm not a prequels guy because I have taste. But there are a lot of people who love the prequels because it was their Star Wars growing up.
We recognize that.
I guess.
So I got a Jar Jar as a gift.
What?
As a gift.
Okay.
As
All
a
right.
gift.
For someone else.
Just because I hope you're not giving that to me.
Oh, Jesus,
because
no.
I like you, and it's like if you give me here's a Jar Jar Binks, it's like I hate you so much. Here's a terrible gift.
You are such a teeter-totter of rage.
So while you and I can watch the prequels and go like, this is step and fetch it. Why did this happen?
Yeah, we've discussed that.
And great last episode with Sue Murphy. But there's other factors at play for people who are like 35, who were 10. They have a love for it that I don't understand.
Right.
But it was their Star Wars.
Right, yeah.
I have a question about that because we can say that about the original Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. And people might say, okay, well, it's very subjective then. You're at the right age when you saw that, and it's a magical movie for you. But yet that first movie spawned a cinematic empire.
Yep.
But now the kids if you were 10 years old and saw Phantom Menace and loved it, and that's your movie, do you think when you hit your 40s and 50s and look at that movie, will you ever be able to look at that movie with sane eyes and say this is a piece of shit? Because Phantom Menace didn't spawn the cinematic legacy of Star Wars. Star Wars did. Phantom Menace rides on that. So Star Wars was the initial one, and that still, to me, is a great movie. Am I totally subjective? Maybe I am, but we'll look at all the other people and look what it's spawned.
So I would say, look at the fact we have Pluto TV on right now that's showing classic Doctor Who. It's
Right.
the second,
I love it.
second or third episode with Peter Davidson,
Yes.
who was one of my favorite doctors.
I liked him.
I cosplayed as him when I went to
liked him too.
Time.
Yeah.
I thought he was good.
Yeah.
There was a Channel 54 event where they had Colin Baker.
Channel 54.
And I went as the fifth Doctor to get Colin Baker's autograph.
Nice.
He was good too.
He was great.
He doesn't get enough
He's
respect.
underappreciated, yeah.
But watching some of these old episodes, it's like the effects are hokey. Like the last
they're made
with,
for like $10.
yeah, the effects with the last Tom Baker episode where he falls off that satellite dish.
Right.
Like that's bad special effects, and we're all here watching it
And
because
again,
it means something to us.
And again, this cheap show from back in the 70s has again spawned a pop culture empire.
Yep.
So I'm saying like that's what like we were. It seems like we were there in the beginning for something that became huge for other generations of people. But will like the person who like or Phantom Menace is the movie for them when they're an adult? Can they look at it with like rose-colored eyes only, or can they really see how inferior it is?
I don't. I hope so.
Because I completely understand what you're saying, Sean. Because the thing with the original Star Wars is that the original Star Wars was good.
There was no precedent, and there. I mean,
Yeah, and Doctor Who, even for its shitty effects, Tom Baker, you can't get near him.
No.
He is,
No.
And some very clever writing for the type of show that it was. So
Right.
it was better than its confines.
Absolutely. So again, I'm about to turn 50. I still love this.
Yeah. I'm 60. I'm over 60, and I love it.
Well, I'm not the biggest Doctor Who aficionado, as you guys know, but you're also referencing Tom Baker Doctor Who.
Right.
Doctor Who had a history before Tom Baker.
Yep.
So that was your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
I mean, I like William Hartnell. I like Patrick Troughton.
Yeah.
John
I like them all.
Yeah, John Pertwee is my favorite.
Love John Pertwee.
We love Pertwee.
Yep, followed by Peter Capaldi.
I think all of them are great doctors. The problem is they are subject to the writing.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. The writing is what's uneven, not the casting of their actors.
It's like season 14 that I watched. I really liked the new Doctor.
I was going to ask. I mean, as you guys are Doctor Who fans, how was the new Doctor Who
Newest
series?
Doctor, no, not for me.
So I liked the Doctor. I thought the first 2 episodes were bad.
That's all I saw.
Okay, so
I was done after that.
So it picks up. I don't like what they did with Ruby because they set up a mystery box and Russell T Davies doesn't know how to stick landings. So there are times when it's like Children of Earth, like he creates a giant problem. I'm thinking, or Torchwood, especially.
Torchwood, yeah.
It's like Miracle Day, and so no one can die. That's bad, and the solution is lame. And
Is it more fantasy oriented than sci-fi?
No, this
Because
was
that's
just
what I don't like either.
Well, we're talking the new one.
the brand new one.
Yeah.
I love the 15th Doctor since we have David Tennant twice.
Sure.
Okay. I like Tennant's episodes where he came back.
Those were
the
good.
specials with Donna Noble were fantastic.
Those
They were great.
hit all the right notes.
Yes,
And
it was like it's back, and then
after getting over the Space Babies, which was lame and weird. When they get to the one written by Stephen Moffat called Boom, it's like, oh, you remembered how to make these.
Okay.
Okay, so start at Boom.
I will.
So it's good, and I did a bunch of TikToks, talking about the Doctor Who episodes, because I just came out of a 2-week trial in Fresno, so sometimes work gets crazy, and so getting ready for trial was a horrible, stressful experience. But that's not important right now. Watching Doctor Who or Star Trek were things that help keep me sane.
Right.
And having Friday nights, being able to turn on Doctor Who, and it's like, okay, I did this when I was 8.
right. It keeps it just it's a cliche, but it just keeps you young. it really does.
And happy.
Yeah,
I ordered new Doctor Who shirts for doing my, TikToks. And it was just like, I got 2 with the TARDIS, I got 1 with Capaldi. I was like, I'm happy.
I do own way too many sonic screwdrivers.
I am looking for the 15th Doctor sonic screwdriver. I don't know if they have it at the BBC booth.
It would be cool to have if you had every single one.
I have a lot. I've lost count, but I have a lot.
Who is your favorite Doctor, guys?
This is great that you guys are talking about Doctor. No. This is great that they're talking about Doctor Who. But why don't we talk about something that we can all discuss?
Okay.
Like Star Trek. Oh, I'm sorry. But getting back to the con.
Yeah.
Okay. So we all purchased some neat things. Josh, you mentioned some things.
I made a list so we could talk.
Well, I also wanted to know what Matt purchased.
Okay.
And did you purchase anything?
I did, yeah. We found Stephanie Bordeaux and I were walking around, and we found this great table that had all these discounted collections and graphic novels and what have you. Ooh. And they had a bunch of. We're both big Junji Ito fans.
Oh.
And but then Stephanie's also a big Batman fan, and so she got this great edition of The Killing Joke, like an anniversary, the Absolute edition, big hardcover, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it is, and for a great price. Mm-hmm. And then they have all these collected editions of Junji Ito stories are hardcover, and they can get a little pricey, but 25% off. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I got a bunch of that. Stephanie got the Frankenstein adaptation that he did, which is unbelievable if you haven't picked that thing up.
Really?
You need that. It's
Cool.
so good.
I'm going to need that booth number before I go home.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we'll set you up.
Okay.
And then, like, I'm not really normally into anything that's kind of cutesy, deformed. But there was one table, and it's I can't remember the guys, but they're like two like punk rock dudes that I always see at like Monster Palooza, and they're great. They're both of them are just amazing people, and they always give you a deal of some sort. And so he had this little set of the Xenomorph. It was I think it's Ripley inside the suit. And you know what? I think it might be Kane. And but it's got the suit, and then it's got the space jockey.
Oh, nice.
And it was $15.
And you're saying they're slightly deformed, like
Yeah, but they're-
not too much.
But not too much.
yeah, kind of like the Tiny Toons line. But sometimes they're good. Sometimes like the
Yeah.
Vampira's great.
Sure.
you know,
It was
but, like,
almost like someone like Playmobil made some
right.
alien figures.
Great.
So so that was great. And then of course I got the Godzilla and Jet Jaguar.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
great.
Which
Awesome.
I needed, but you know I feel like there's still something out there that I haven't discovered yet.
Well, if I remember in the past, you say, "Oh, I got something, at X price," but on Sunday you wait for the
I am
deals.
I am waiting for
You're
the
a
deals.
deal guy.
Yeah, and I was thinking of maybe because I do like that creature on the tricycle. I was thinking of maybe coming by Super 7 and seeing if I could maybe wangle a deal for the display.
That's what you should do.
Oh, to get the one display.
the
yeah.
Yeah, because that's what because you never know. There's just one less thing they have to take home.
That's true. That's true.
But we'll see. But and there are times too where it's like you go through that con and we are very thorough, and I'm sure you guys do the same thing. Where you just go back and forth.
Hit
You
every
like
how
comb
they can.
through
Yep.
it,
Yep.
and there's always something that you miss, and you go, "Oh my god, I didn't see that." You like James, you're really good at this, where you'll find something like, "Hey, I found this in this weird booth," and it's like the one strange thing at the of all the things that this person is selling.
Yeah, you picked up something, I think, the other day, too. Okay, what are some of the things that you picked up?
Well, yeah, as I've mentioned before, I like, NECA Toys does great work,
Yes.
and they do these 1/6 scale figures, which are huge. They're like 2 feet tall, and one vendor had the Tony Stark from Avengers, where he's wearing the armor, but not the helmet. And it's great Robert Downey Jr. likeness, $100. Which is, sometimes I'll pay half that for a 6-inch figure.
Right.
So this is a lot of toy for the money, and it also lights up. I have to replace the batteries.
Cool.
But that was great, and I've also picked up the Godzilla and Jet Jaguar shaking hands. Sort of and also, I always hit the Tomorrow's Publishing booth. They do Retro Fan magazine, and it seems like every year they have a new book by an author named Mark Voger. This year the book is called Zowie, and it's all about the history of live action superhero adaptations coming all the way up to Batman 66.
Oh wow.
And it's colorful. I love the way these books are laid out. I recommend it to anybody. Again, it's Tomorrow's Publishing. The book is called Zowie by Mark Voger. I love their work. I picked up Monster Mash was the first book that we all got.
And there's a Christmas themed one too,
Christmas
right?
one called Holly Jolly. There's one called Groovy about 60s, like the Monkeys and the Brady Bunch. And there's one called Brit Mania about the British invasion.
Nice.
It's all by the same author, and the layouts are colorful and wonderful, and again, I can't recommend them enough.
That's awesome.
Well, as you can hear, it's been a great con for all of us. And Josh, you make my con. You are the cherry on top of my graphic novel, whatever that means.
I mean, we want to keep it mint and condition. When I
You know what? I like a graphic novel that's been thumbed through.
Thank you.
Leave it to Weinhold to make it weird.
Well, that's okay.
But seriously, Josh, always a pleasure to have you on. And, we of course love what you do.
Thank you.
And we wish you nothing but the best for the future. And who knows what crazy projects will present themselves.
But for listeners, Josh, where can people hear your podcast? What?
You can see us on thelegalgeeks.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Threads, X, YouTube, and TikTok at The Legal Geeks. We're going to be writing and blogging more. We actually just had 2 posts come out today about the Acolyte that one of the other lawyers wrote.
Nice.
Based upon our panel. And podcast-wise, you can see us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and all the other great podcast players out there that Buzzsprout connects to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Josh.
My pleasure, gentlemen. So good seeing all of you.
Yes.
Good seeing you.
Cheers.
Excelsior.
Josh is such a delight, isn't he?
I'll
so
say.
it's so great to have
He's
him on.
a heap and helping a delight.
But speaking of delights, we have another delightful guest.
Do we? I see her right here.
Hi.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's Stephanie Bordeaux.
Stephanie.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We had Stephanie here last year,
That's right.
and it was such a smash hit that we had to have you back
Oh,
by popular
Wow.
demand.
But you're a big gamer.
I am a gamer. Yeah, right now I am playing Final Fantasy 14.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's after 13.
Yes.
You are very quick.
I'm a gamer.
Not really.
No.
No. I also want to thank you for bringing Josh. Thanks to him, I got to meet and speak to a circuit court judge, the 9th.
You got to speak to one of the judges?
I actually, in all of my very, very big coolness, said, "Tell me the hot goss from the 9th Circuit."
The hot goss.
And I got a little bit and a link to a good article and notes on a YouTube video that's going to drop from one of our Supreme Court justices.
Oh, that's so cool.
I know.
We're on the inside. We're just
We are.
You know,
We're-
with the movers
we're
and the
movers and-
shakers.
Not really, but sure. But that was amazing. Thank you. So
And now you are a gamer. You're a real gamer, and to the point where when I'm walking around with you, it's super fun because what Stephanie does is she wears T-shirts, and she actually, like, when somebody else is wearing a T-shirt or mentions a game, she's right there. She knows everything about it, and so I sit there and I get like a seminar about how how these games work, and so. If you could describe, Stephanie, the shirt that you're wearing and its history.
well, it's a mashup of Mean Girls and Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail.
The name of the game.
Trail. So if you are of a certain age, you had to put in a couple floppy disks into a computer.
Oh.
And in text, you purchased provisions and you had to get to the Oregon Trail. And as many people told me today, I died of dysentery. So my shirt says, "Get in, losers. Today we attempt to ford a river," which was also one of the many choices you had to make in the game, which was either to wait, ford the river on your own, or get assistance. But you never had money because you'd spent it all on bullets and clothing and wheels.
So this is like one of the very first, like the crude, very first incarnations of a video game.
I wouldn't say it was the very, very first.
But it's-
Pong. Come on.
right. But,
Well, right, but like
a story-
an adventure game.
It was
right.
one of the early types of adventure games that were partly text based or mostly text based, but yeah, and school children everywhere played it.
That's
I
amazing.
can't believe none of you have.
I have heard of it, but no,
I was outside.
Yeah, but are there
Climbing
new
trees.
versions? But are there new versions now of Oregon Trail? Like, is it like
There are new versions.
like a first-person shooter Oregon Trail game?
No, you can play it on PC and console. It is
Okay.
updated, and but the graphics are kind of old school 8-bit a bit, and the song is still there but updated, and you can really mix and match a lot of your characters, and there are
Interesting.
challenges to it. You can do it in certain seasons, and it's very fun. And now I've
Cool.
now admitted that I have compulsively played the new version of Oregon.
Wow.
Now, what, was there a text first-person shooter game? Where it was just like,
probably.
I am aiming my gun. I am shooting my gun. I have shot my gun.
I do remember
right?
ones where you had to explore forests and caves, and you would have creatures come after you. And
do you remember what was the first game that you really got into that had you hooked, where it became like a thing in your life?
Where it wasn't just casual?
Yes.
That would have been Zelda.
Legend of Zelda.
Oh, now I don't know anything. I've of course heard of this.
Yes, I've heard the name. I know.
But what's the whole Zelda deal?
I mean, you're Zelda, and you're adventuring.
I am Zelda.
Yeah, you're adventuring through the forest, and you have to like build up your weapons and gather things. And I don't,
Are there like dragons or ogres or?
Eventually, you are going to fight very large creatures, but you have nothing. You have no means of doing
At
this.
first.
At first,
Right. Okay.
And it was I do like I can still see the old graphics and how frustrating it was, and this is before you could really save video games, so you had to like play the whole thing, which I never got to the end to. I'm gonna admit this now.
Wow. Well, I remember with Pong.
Yes.
Going back to that, we had that.
Yeah, I had Pong.
And it was one of those games too where we had to hook it up to like a shitty TV that we were going to get rid of at some point.
Right.
Because it would burn in the Pong into the TV.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do.
Yeah. And I remember like the big feature was you could have 2 paddles.
But that's Pong. That's old school. But Stephanie's a big gamer, and I mean, you're walking around Comic-Con. Did you see any game stuff that you go, "Ooh, this is"? Yeah.
There weren't a lot, so I was hoping Square Enix would come this year because they had dropped like a whole new expansion for the game I play and everything. But apparently, they have spent so much time like in Japan. I should have gone to Japan.
We all got to go to Japan.
Con. Yeah, apparently that's where I was going to see them this year. So there is a little bit of a diminished presence from gaming companies this year.
Oh, okay.
Blizzard's not here either, but a ton of people cosplaying. I saw Johnny from Cyberpunk, a really, really good Johnny from Cyberpunk.
What I was going to say, you have your fingers in the pulse of what the kids are playing
not.
today. So
Absolutely
what are the
not.
most popular trends in games right now? What are the big games?
So again, I've been stuck in Final Fantasy 14 for a while right
What's
now.
a while?
Probably about 4 months, 4 solid months.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's that kind of game.
It is a an MMORPG. So
You know what? I just passed out for a second. What does that mean?
it's a multiplayer online role playing.
And so you play it with other people
I
online?
play with other people
I see.
online. I play with
The other people part I have a problem with.
Do you have like some fantasy name, so everyone can identify you?
I'm not going to give the full name because then people could. But my character's name is Rowdy.
Rowdy.
She has a last
that.
name.
Oh.
I
Wait a minute. Is this the character that you just got some new clothes for?
She is a level 100 Reaper main.
Keep talking.
Yeah, she is. But I will say, I that's not actually her current outfit. She has a different outfit now. But I did show you the new clothing that they got, which very much reads
Little Dom, right?
very Dom.
I got to get into games.
Then you can kill things and dress up. Glam is endgame in Final Fantasy 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
New outfits.
But you're not just a big gamer. You also like Star Trek, right?
I never got you as much as Star Trek. I know that you like superhero stuff.
Very much.
And Star Wars, I think that you're a somewhat of a Star Wars fan.
I'm somewhat of a Star Wars fan. I do enjoy like original Star Trek.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
Because we
Right.
went to there was a little exhibit that we went to.
I made you guys stand in lines.
Yes.
That was probably one of the bigger joys was watching you guys stand in lines. Refuse to
yes.
stand in lines than me going, but I really want to see this
Well, and then
thing.
of course we're gonna go.
And then you go, and then you make multiple videos.
Yes, that's true. That's true. No, you were like
Yeah. And then when I wanted to go see the John Wick stuff, you guys are like, and what was on the other side of John Wick?
that was Larry. That was Larry.
Wait, I wasn't like that.
Yes,
was
you
I?
were. Because so this is classic Larry.
Wait.
and it's not a bad thing. It's just who he is. And it was because when I first met Larry, it was great because when he would start talking about all the stuff he likes, and then you start talking about the thing you like, and if he liked that thing as well, then you're golden, right? Yeah. But if you bring up something he doesn't like, it's just all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, for the people out there who remember the opening credits of Get Smart. It was like a bunch of doors closing. And it was just like you could see all those doors closing on his mind, and it was...
I'm just saying there's some very cool John Wick props here.
We're looking at pinball machines.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I saw that pinball machine.
And there's a John Wick pinball machine, and there are these two Godzilla ones, and I think they're giving away the John Wick one.
Yeah.
But the two Godzilla ones, which were amazing pinball machines.
They weren't giving those away.
They were not giving those away. You could play them.
Yeah.
And so, and then we're looking at hey, let's play them. Maybe play them. We're looking at the games. And then Stephanie comes out and goes, hey, look, there's John Wick. And you could just see, like, all of a sudden, it was almost like he fainted. It was just, no.
Look, in defense, I just want to say I was all excited about those Godzilla games, and I'm fine if they're going to give away a John Wick pinball machine. Hey, that's neat.
It was really cool.
And that's neat, but it'd be even more exciting if they're going to give away the Godzilla machine. I was disappointed that they weren't giving away a Godzilla machine. And I thought, the more desirable one, that's not the one that they're going to give away.
Yeah.
More desirable to you. I mean, for me too. It would be, of course, the Godzilla one.
Although
Sure.
I do love me some John Wick.
Sure, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Someone who kills everybody around them because they fucked with their dog.
Look, I hope I didn't offend you,
Nobody
Stephanie,
was offended.
I was offended.
Yeah,
but-
I was able
Well, you're
to continue.
always offended.
That's true.
I was able to continue 2 minor obsessions. I got a couple more Frank Miller things.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice print of Batman. The Batman
Really nice,
Returns
really nice.
cover signed by Frank Miller was my big purchase.
Wonderful.
And then my other new side obsession, which started at Planicon, is I like to look for variant art on The Shining.
Oh, cool.
Oh, James, Shining.
Nice.
The Shining, meaning Kubrick's Shining.
Oh yes, yes.
Cool, cool.
I'm a massive Stephen King fan.
Are you?
Goes
hear that,
way
James?
back, way
James.
back, yeah, way back.
What's your favorite novel?
The Talisman.
Wow.
That's deep, isn't it?
It's a deep cut.
That's with Peter Straub, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because they also did White Dragon they wrote together? No, that was him by himself.
Black House.
Black House.
Black
That was
House.
the
White,
sequel.
black,
the
right.
sequel to the Talisman. And
Okay.
Talisman has never been adapted. It's been in the
I am
works.
shocked it's never been adapted.
Spielberg was attached at one point.
Thought it might get done.
It'll happen eventually.
What is the general, just succinct gist of that story? What is it?
The Talisman is a story of a young man whose mother is dying of cancer, and at one point he discovers there is an other place he can go where his mother is a queen who is under attack. And it's a whole other world, and the whole reason he can exist there is because he doesn't exist in that other space, and he thinks that this is a key to saving his mother's life in the real world that he lives in.
And that
Is it
whole-
more fantasy oriented then? Seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole parallel world storytelling echoes the Dark Tower
Okay.
saga.
Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, outside of that, I'm down for all of his horror, but that novel came to me at a really good time in my life and whatnot.
Interesting.
Also, Stephen King did get me an automatic A in reading in 7th grade and a good talk with my dad. I was expected to read, if you read 3,500 pages in the semester, you got an automatic A and didn't have to do any more work. Or not, no, I'm sorry, it was 1,000 pages. I ended up reading 3,500.
Wow.
The Stand, big chunk of that.
Yeah.
And still is one of my all-time favorites.
It's awesome.
Nice.
But The Shining.
Yes, and I do. First of all, phenomenal book. I
Yes.
recognize all the changes, and I know Stephen King it took him many years to come around to Kubrick's version, but I love Kubrick's film.
I do too.
You don't love it, do you, James?
Honestly, Kubrick's work in general.
Answer the question.
No, I can't say that I love it. I appreciate it, and I'm fascinated by it, and I'll watch it over and over again. And I will have souvenirs and props and stuff from it. And I have the 12-inch Jack Torrance and the little twins.
Well, that's kind of saying you like it in a way if you have all that.
I appreciate it, but There isn't a single Stanley Kubrick film that I can say that I love. There's something about his style that just sort of leaves me cold.
2001?
I know we've talked about it before now, but
Full Metal
but
Jacket?
Again, when you say it leaves me cold, that's Kubrick.
It's Kubrick, yeah.
Have you ever?
It's a
Have you ever
personal-
seen? Is there ever? Is
Not
there such
even
thing as a?
Lolita.
Is there such thing as a warm Kubrick film? No.
I appreciate them for what they are, but they don't hit me on a direct level where I can
Yeah,
where I can
Dr.
embrace them,
Strangelove?
where I can embrace them and say
Spartacus.
Spartacus and Lolita are the ones I find the most accessible. Strangelove, I was never a fan. Meh.
Meh?
Strangelove.
I know it's
Dr.
sacrilegious.
Strangelove?
Clockwork Orange. No.
So you're more like Old Yeller and International Velvet.
Now,
International.
hey, now those films that you mentioned, those are good films. So don't,
Do you
know.
hate John Ford too?
I'm just saying that the idea that something can be cold. Like, I like all kinds of different movies. I want them to take me on their journey. I don't have a preset road where, if it's going to be cold, I'm not going to be into it. Well, I want to see your cold vision. To me, what it sounds like is you have a very limited view of what film should be.
No, I think you have a limited view, Matt, of what liking a film should be. Because to me, I can appreciate what Kubrick does. It doesn't mean it has to hit me on a level where I can say, I like this. It's like, all right, I appreciate it, but I cannot embrace it. Not my cup of tea. Just doesn't hit me on that level where I can be excited about it.
Do you appreciate the lighting techniques he used in Barry
I
Lyndon?
appreciate.
I might be a tiny Kubrick fan.
I appreciate all the technical aspects.
But you still watch The Shining over and over again and buy all the collectibles. So how does that figure into?
And I love the documentary Room 237.
Yeah, sure.
Because The Shining to me it's also a very, very intriguing case of an adaptation of something which goes somewhere else, isn't all that faithful, and does something different.
Right.
I appreciate it very much for that, and there is something really intriguing about how much of a vacuum it represents. And all those conspiracy theories that are in Room 237,
right.
I'm endlessly fascinated with those too, even if I may not believe any of them, because it's phenomenal to me how someone could create something that lends itself so much to interpretation, and it is itself a piece of interpretation. It becomes an intellectual exercise more than anything else, and it's fun.
Well, and here's where what you said to me speaks to me. The way you put it just now, I understand that, because that is like appreciation of music. There are certain bands, I've talked about this before, where I don't really like the music, but I appreciate. You can't argue that, say, I think Fleetwood Mac, they're a good band. I think that they're talented. They've written good songs, and I don't think they're bad musicians or anything like that. I just never want to hear any of it ever.
It comes down to taste. It just comes down to taste.
But I think that with Kubrick, and I really do feel this way. Stephanie, tell me if you think this too. Almost every movie he does, there is a distance he takes from it. He has an eye that he's looking down on it that makes you look at it in a different way. It's the very coldness and distance of his filmmaking that you're kind of judging the characters in his movie in a weird way that's unlike other movies, that makes it so compelling and fascinating to me. Like watching Alex in Clockwork Orange, or watching, Peter Sellers' Strangelove. Like there's something, not a critical eye. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's something that, it's so specific. Like, a Kubrick movie when you see it.
So, and plus I read the original Clockwork Orange and whatnot. And one of the things I think he does really well, and one of the things I think he did really well, and is one of the only people to do this with a Stephen King novel, and the same thing with the Burgess novels. In those, no one is likable in those novels. And that's often one of the extreme difficulties in making these adaptations. And this is where I think Kubrick succeeds in ways very few other directors can. And one of the reasons Stephen King novel adaptations almost always are horrible, with a few shining examples where they're not, like Shawshank.
Shining.
Right. Or The Shining, right? And it's because Kubrick doesn't mean for at least for me, from my experience, doesn't care if you like any of his characters.
Right. He's
and
not.
And he's got you just far enough from everybody that you're like, I'm just watching this.
He never editorializes anything.
No.
Never. Like, he's
No.
never saying, this is how you should feel about the scene. Never.
It's detached all the way through.
Yes, but it's
Right.
the detachment that makes it fascinating.
Well, and to me, what makes it original is the fact that you have a director that is detached, and you do have these nice wide angle scenes that play out.
Yeah.
And where I think a lesser director would feel that urge to zoom in on
Yeah.
someone.
They'd be
and
less
get that-
patient.
Yeah. To let it play out.
Yeah.
And that through being distant, you get closer.
you do. Yeah.
Someone write that down.
And I mean, if you think about even with A Clockwork Orange, like that whole thing where they finally figure out like the treatment Alex goes through, right? That the music gets caught and it's not just the violent actions, that he's now impacted by the music he loves and he can no longer hear the music he loves. In Burgess's novel, they're like, bingo, that's the punishment that we were looking for, right? But nobody cares about Alex, right? No one feels sorry for Alex. Right. And even when Alex meets up with his old friends in the novel, they don't care about him anymore, right? And so there's no one there to feel sorry for Alex or to make Alex look like the victim. And Kubrick maintains that for you. You still never feel like this guy's paid for anything, that this guy is somebody you should feel sorry for. Like, you literally feel nothing for him at the end of that film.
Well, I would disagree with that for myself, because
Okay.
when I watch that movie, I think another thing that he does very well is casting. And so the fact that you have Malcolm McDowell playing this role, and with that the voiceover all the way through, you've got this guy who I think ends up coming off, aside from all the horrible things he does, he has this malevolent charm. And that's the thing that because I don't think you can watch something where someone is just completely horrible and diabolical unless it's like a Mike Leigh movie or something like that, or but to have a character that is this vile and to add those elements of dark humor that make it so it doesn't get too down in the weeds of the darkness of his world and who he is. I think the casting, it's Malcolm McDowell does such a great job of just bringing this life and energy to it. That's a gift. And I'm sure it's different these days too, when you have casting sort of forced on you, by the studios.
Right. That plays definitely an important part of it.
Right. And I mean, even in my least favorite Kubrick film, which is the last one he did, like, he does a really good job of not having you root for that marriage.
That's
one
the
way or
eyes-
the
true.
other.
That's the
Yeah.
eyes wide shut.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
With the dynamic team of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, and that's one where, from watching documentaries and things, like where it seems like he did like them or he did want them, and it's hard to believe.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as you get like Tom Cruise and Stanley Kubrick, I mean, I don't know.
Very
It's
odd.
a very, very odd
Very
combination.
odd,
yeah.
yeah.
Steven Spielberg loves him too, so.
But
Yeah,
James, why do you hate movies?
Now we know, James. So
No,
when the next Kubrick retrospective comes around, no invite.
I know James likes movies.
Of course
I
he
do.
does.
But Stephanie, was there anything else that you saw at the con that you thought was amazing?
So I too heard you guys talking earlier about the whole it's here, but it's not available. The coolest Captain America,
yeah.
which is the
Oh,
other thing
yeah.
I was after, is not here.
What is this figure?
It's a really cool Captain America.
Statue.
Yeah, which is set in a scene.
Which
kind of.
Captain America? Is it the actual
Classic, I would
It's
say.
it's a
It's a
Silver
comic
Age.
book. It's a
Silver
comic book.
Age,
It's
yeah,
silver.
Silver
It's a
so it's not
Silver
the
Age
Chris-
figure.
No, it's comic book. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Silver Age comic book figure, and it looks so good, and
Wow.
it's not here. It's available for pre-order, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. I'm not.
Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna fall for it.
Well, Stephanie, we're so delighted that you could make the con.
Thank you.
Another year in a row. So now
Yeah.
you're one of us. The sickness
Excellent.
has set in. you walk in the hall and you smell the smell of nerds perspiring and passing their pizza, and and you use it to power
I keep
you.
reminding you, I do this in Kansas City.
Okay.
There's like a whole con there.
But
Nice.
is it as big as this?
I mean, it's not as
nothing's
big
as
as
big.
San Diego's, but it is a very large multi-day con, 3-day
Cool.
con.
They
Awesome.
have other cons.
It's called
across
Planet Con.
across
Shout
the
out.
country,
I have to go to that one. These days.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
that? Planet Con?
Planet Con.
Nice.
Well, Stephanie, thanks so much for
Thank
being
you,
with
guys.
us.
Well, guys, another great thing about Comic-Con is that we get to meet some friends of ours, some a local artist here in San Diego, and a big supporter of our podcast, and that is Mr. Jim Jenkins.
Jim
Jenkins. Oh,
a
wow.
diehard fan.
Diehard
Yes.
fan and an amazing artist who
Incredible.
creates these kind of sculptures, characters.
Not kind of. He actually
he
makes
does.
them. He follows through.
He creates these pieces of art that are made basically out of construction paper, and they're incredible. They're kind of like stylized characters, usually of monsters and horror and sci-fi stuff, and it's amazing. Jim, welcome.
Thank you. I'll be doing my part tonight in sign language.
Perfect. Well, Jim, it was great having you on.
Yes.
But yes, we have all been the beneficiaries of your work.
Yes.
We all have numerous pieces. We love them. I mean, they're our treasured things.
He's
And
brought some
he's
tonight.
a fan. He's a fan who's brought us gifts.
always appreciated.
Yes.
That's right.
In fact, it should be a lesson to the people listening that you got to up your game.
Yeah.
You really do.
That's right.
But so now this is something that you've been doing. Did you learn this somehow as a kid from an art class, or like how did you?
No, I just kind of fiddled around with it and over time figured it out.
So it was just like sort of trial and error.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And so I'm guessing that you're like us. You're a monster kid, and that you've been into this
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
stuff since
Oh, yeah.
a wee lad.
Yes. I think Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein was my gateway.
Oh, that's a good one.
Many
yeah.
people's gateway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In a way, it's too bad because I was talking to somebody the other day, and their gateway was Human Centipede. It's like, I don't think you're getting the same experience
It's inspired a whole generation.
that way.
A different type of comedy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is your introduction into this.
You
area.
could say it's a comedy team.
Okay.
You know,
Josh
if
isn't here,
you
but that
sewed
argument could
the
be-
Ritz brothers together,
They would have been funnier, I think, if they were said together.
But anyway, you are an artist. You are an artist that
I've never thought of myself as such, but
We
you
absolutely
are.
Yes.
But you know, you have to stop this whole self-deprecating thing.
Yes.
no,
yes.
it's what works.
But
No,
okay,
no, no.
okay. But he brought these lovely
Yes, he brought
creations,
a trio of
one
great characters.
for each of us.
Yes, yeah.
And can you describe which ones you?
I don't know, Larry, which one appeals to you?
Okay, there is a creature from the Black Lagoon.
There is.
and he looks great.
Oh, yes, he
Oh, thank
does.
you. I was very concerned about that.
He looks great. He's just on that line where he's not too cutesy and not too mean.
Yeah.
So he
charming.
works. And he's actually standing a lot better than my life-size statue at the moment.
Well, that's why they all have very big feet.
Sure.
That does
sure.
help. Yes.
But there's also, it looks like there's a wolf man.
That I believe is a teenage werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it not?
The Michael Landon version.
Very cool.
I heard James mention that he was thinking about cosplaying for it, so I thought maybe this would give him a little a model to work on. But
Nice.
It's awesome.
Nice.
And for the things that James and I disagree about, that's one thing we can agree about, because I love that werewolf.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd never seen anyone do that cosplay, and I think that would be
Yeah.
fun.
No, I don't think so specifically. Even though
yeah.
the shoes are wrong, I will own that.
No, do you? Well, I mean,
he's got
they're-
like big red sneakers on.
Right.
yeah.
I really wanted to do the giant red kids. But in the movie, he's just wearing brown.
Yeah, yeah, but that looks cool. It, kinda, it
looks
works.
better.
works.
It works with the jacket.
Do you start with the feet on these, or
No. I always start with the head, because if the head doesn't work, Why continue?
Right. That's true.
And now the third one is, it looks...
That's just an image that's been in my head for years.
Well, it's the classic monkey with the little tangerine.
Is
tambourines.
Is it Cornelius?
Yes.
Oh.
Banging the cymbals.
So you have a Planet of the Apes character banging the cymbals together.
You know,
and I look at that, and it's like the type of thing where I go, that's a beautiful piece, and then I want you to make the working one.
Really.
Is that all?
That's a great mashup, though. I'm surprised nobody's done that before, because you get that classic tambourine
again, it's just a
monkey.
thought that I had a long time ago. I kind of fixated on it for a bit, and
Larry, what's your problem with it?
finally decided.
Well,
It doesn't take the subject matter seriously.
Well,
That's true. But it's a mashup with a classic.
It's satire.
And it's a classic
Did you ever
toy.
read Mad Magazine? I'm just curious.
Well, yeah, I mean...
You didn't like that?
Well, when they poked fun at things, like Star Trek and Planet of the Apes.
Well,
and,
you can poke fun at something and still like it, right?
And sometimes it means that you love it a lot when you can do that.
Oh, yeah, I've been a big Apes fan forever, so no disrespect.
Well, there was never any. I mean, we don't know for sure that Cornelius never had band. And
Well,
This
is true.
That you bring up a good point, because we've talked about this too. Matt has this issue. He doesn't know how the apes were able to get in a spaceship and go back in time.
Right.
There's a missing piece of the film.
I'm telling you, it all comes down to the genius of Dr. Milo. That's what it
Yes,
is.
exactly. So it is true, James, that maybe Cornelius had, there's like band practice when he was growing up a young inquisitive ape, and he said, well, I have to do the tambourine again. So, or the cymbals.
Interesting.
You sounded a little bit like Floyd from Andy Griffith's show. I gotta fix the spaceship.
So the ship was powered by cymbals.
No, that's not. No, Jim, that is not what I'm saying.
Don't be ridiculous,
I'm just
Jim.
saying that when he was going through ape school, that they probably had like a choir, they probably had like band, and Cornelius said, "I'm going to do the cymbals." That's probably what he said.
now, one thing.
Okay.
Why are you laughing? It makes total logical
Strangest
sense.
interpretations of these ideas.
Okay, what's your brilliant idea? I want to know what I want to know what Shawn Sheridan.
your
Oh,
accent.
I'm Shawn Sheridan. I'm brilliant. I know everything. Come on. What is your logic?
Don't yell at Sean. If anybody messed up, it was me.
No, come on.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
was amused by your accent for Cornelius. That's all.
Oh, that's what
It
you.
was like a little bit Vincent Price meets Floyd the Barber.
It does take a certain talent to do 3 impressions at once.
Right.
Now, Jim, you attended Comic-Con this weekend,
Yes, I did.
as we did.
Yeah,
Any observations?
Trying to keep things positive.
Oh, wow.
It was, I understand. I didn't go today because I had the blood drive this morning, and I went to that.
Okay. Great.
After I walked around for a little bit after that, it was like, I think I'm going to go take a nap.
And now you're wearing a Marvel Studios Deadpool and Wolverine T-shirt.
Nice.
Now, was that a giveaway at a panel or?
No, that was the giveaway from the blood drive.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That was
That's
very
awesome.
nice
I like
of
that.
you to give blood.
Yeah.
Well, I know some people who
Could use some blood.
kind of depend on regular transfusions.
Well, there you
for
go.
Different reasons. So
That's
it's like,
awesome.
okay, this is for you guys.
Very
And
nice.
It's something I've got plenty of.
Yeah, maybe we could all learn a lesson from this.
Maybe we need to give some blood.
That's
Maybe
right.
we
Yeah.
should.
Yeah, maybe we should do it now.
No, not
I
now.
watched a YouTube tutorial. I know how to do this.
No, we're not going to do it now. But I want to know more about. Look, we all love to come here, and I know as much as we love it, there are issues with the con. But did you have a generally good time?
Oh,
or-
generally
cool stuff you
speaking,
saw?
yeah. It's just I don't know if anybody else noticed or if it's just me, but there's like 3 different security companies working down there now, plus the regular staff, plus the convention center staff, plus the volunteers.
Right.
And it seems like there was one support person for every 100 guests there.
Yeah.
And of course, you go to ask a question from somebody and everybody's got a different answer.
Yeah.
What line
Yeah,
am I supposed to be in?
That's true. Like my wife and I were trying to figure out where the shuttle came at the convention center. Where can you get it from the convention center to go to your hotel? And nobody knew.
Yeah.
It should be a central information here. I mean, if there is, we didn't find it.
And there was quite a bit of line trouble too, right?
Yes.
Like there were lotteries that people supposedly had these guaranteed places in line, and that just wasn't the fact. Or they got there and the seats were already filled. There was no room for them even if they got in. So
Yeah, most of those type things I don't really care about.
Yeah. You know what
I'm not going to stand in line 6 hours to watch a
Well, yeah, we're all over that too.
Hell's no.
Did you guys experience this? Because this was the first time that I really saw this. And so everyone is concerned, or I guess the security, they're all concerned about people moving the line.
Yes.
Don't stand. And this year, more than ever, they had security people yelling, saying, keep the line moving, keep moving, don't stop. And it almost was kind of frightening in a way. But it wasn't just outside the convention. It was once I was inside the convention.
Yeah.
And I'm walking in. I'm stopping. Then I hear, keep moving.
Well, yeah, actually, my wife Gina and I accidentally got into like the exit escalator going out when we thought we were going in, and we went under the little line. I was like, oh, get the hell out of there. We had it was like, whoa, okay, like we were actually okay. Just calm down.
It's top down too. There's got to be somebody who's barking at them.
But look, still, I enjoyed it. I mean,
I've been going here for years.
Yeah.
And even when I can't get a ticket for inside, which has become increasingly difficult.
Yes.
I still go down to the blood drive every year. I still go to the off-site things.
There is
what I can.
There is still a lot going on, even if it's not directly inside the convention center.
So you can still be involved in a way.
Yes.
And I'm glad that they're giving away swag to make you want to, or one of the things to entice you to give blood, as opposed to
they always do.
Well, I mean, and that's better, I think, than just paying you like they did in the olden days for the blood. Because there's some kit that you want to get, and it's $400, and you're like, "Fuck, I'm down a little money."
Yeah.
You just run to the blood drive and pick up $40. It's just not. It's not classy.
Take $400 worth.
So Jim, you've been listening to Monster Party for a while.
Oh, quite a while.
Now, is there a topic that you liked us talking about at all?
Well, I think
Human centipede?
No.
Let's do a full 3-parter on that.
No, why?
Stitch it together.
Why do you bring that up? I want to know what the man has to say. Okay,
He's just spent all day down at the convention center, nose to ass, with 10,000 people.
He's got a point.
I understand where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I really like the episodes where you make it kind of a game.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the
We like our
quotes
game
and
episodes.
the taglines.
We love those too.
Quotes. We got
Yeah.
in there quote one soon.
What I like about those is that the fact that we are able to be a little bit more spontaneous with the reactions.
Yeah.
And, it's not because as much as I love where it's one subject where we've done our research, and that's great, and we like imparting information, but to just be able to kind of riff is fun.
Well, that's kind of what makes you all different from so many other podcasts.
Yes.
You have great guests.
Yes, we do.
You got
Yes, we do.
people on there. I was particularly thrilled when you had Larry Blameyer on there.
Oh, yeah.
I've loved those Lost Skeleton movies
Yeah,
for
those
the
are great.
longest time.
Yeah.
And I also enjoy the fact that I knew nothing of it coming up.
Right.
One day it says, "Oh, Larry Blameyer will be on there." Terrific.
Right. I
And
like to get the variety.
yeah, I was actually able to reach out to him on Facebook later and say, "I
Right.
love your movies. Thank you very much.
Nice.
You were great on Monster Party."
Well,
That's another thing. You reach out to our guests after the shows, and then you will network with them. Like,
Informally and not in any, organized sense.
right,
Not in any kind of creepy stalker kind of way.
Yes. Well, maybe.
But famously, years ago, you bought the Monster Party T-shirt, and you've since had not only us autograph it, but guests who have been on the show autograph it.
Everybody in this room has signed it.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then I forgot to bring it tonight for Mark.
Well, but so you've been listening for years, and you like the show and stuff. So do you have a favorite? Like one of us? Like do you?
Wow.
Can we go the opposite direction and start at the bottom?
To quote a good friend of mine, did Daddy turn off the hug machines?
No, I think the first comment I ever sent you guys online was that you each have an integral part to play.
I think so. I would hope so.
And you need all four of you to play off of
Do we?
to do all this. Yes, you do.
It's a chemistry.
Jim, I want to thank you so much for my creature, which
I know
will
which side of
be-
my
For
bread
all
the
your work.
butter's
Yes.
on.
and-
Rule number 1, do not tick off Larry.
no.
That's not
No.
rule number 1.
Well, if this is a bribe, then
Well,
it's
sure, yes.
implied
Then
that
yes.
not bribing is an issue.
I just like you for you, Jim.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
And now that we have a tradition of attending Comic-Con now for decades, and
Yeah.
now the last few years since we've gotten to know you and that you live here, you're like walking distance from everything right here in downtown.
Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, I pretty much walk everywhere around here. I walk to the convention center regularly.
So seeing you is we can continue to look forward to as part of our tradition.
Yes, of course.
Sure. Thank you.
A grand tradition.
Jim, thanks for
Thank you,
being
man.
with us,
Thank you,
man.
man.
Thank you,
so
Jim.
much.
Everybody.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else who's listening, when you're doing a podcast like this, you want a big showstopper for the end. You know, you need some star power, you need some pizzazz, you need some wow. And that all exists in the person of one of our favorite guests, a friend of the show, and an amazing artist who I've known for years. We've been friends forever. And the person I'm talking about is Mark Tavares.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. We're so happy to have you here. You've been experiencing Comic-Con like we have, and a little bird told us that you have some stories about Comic-Con.
Uh-oh.
Well, yeah, this was kind of a last-minute thing. We were actually going to come this year.
Oh, really?
And then, I don't know, it was a few weeks ago, we just decided, well, let's see if there's any hotels, because we'd missed the lottery.
I was going to say, if this is a last-minute decision to Comic-Con, how the hell did you get a hotel?
I'm realizing now that all my angst I had in years past about, I didn't get anything on the day and all
Yeah.
that stuff is wrong, because when they open it up to the public, I mean, stuff is constantly being returned back to the lottery or whatever. And so
okay.
you just check it every day.
Okay, yeah, no, gotcha.
And most of the stuff that was available was, out 4 or 5 miles away in Mission Valley or something like
Right.
that. But you keep coming back, and then one showed up downtown.
Nice.
And we were only coming Friday and Saturday, so it wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
And so we got lucky, and we hooked it up. And,
Awesome.
and we were here. And so, again, it was just going to be a chill thing. We had nothing to really look forward to other than seeing friends and just having a good time, soaking up the atmosphere and things like that. And so we were walking around today in the crowds, and we passed by the Paramount booth. I don't know if anyone's talked about this yet on the show.
no.
but- So they're promoting Star Trek, of course. That's their big property here. And the way they've set up their booth is sort of an intergalactic zoo.
Oh, yes, my wife and I went through this.
Right.
It's awesome.
Okay.
We went
yeah.
as well.
And it was neat. Obviously, they've got props and puppets and things like that from all the different shows and movies. And one of them was a salt vampire. And I didn't notice it until we were walking by at one point. And I said, wait a minute, could that be my salt vampire?
What?
Well, here's the thing. So I used to work for KNBFX back when I was doing Mega Effects. And in the mid-'90s, late 90s, there was a plan. Paramount was going to open a series of stores, kind of like Warner Brothers did, the Warner Brothers Studio stores they used to have in malls.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paramount was going to do the same thing. And like Planet Hollywood, they were going to populate it with a bunch of, neat props and things. So they were getting companies to build stuff.
Oh, man.
And they contracted K&B to build a full-figure Gorn and a salt vampire.
Wow.
And I got to work on the salt vampire. I did the
Nice.
sculptures for this
What
thing.
are the chances of this?
Well, this is the weird thing. So this is back in the 90s and trying to get photo reference off the internet. Everything's about the size of
Sure.
postage stamps
Right.
at that
Yeah.
point.
Black and white.
We had a couple of books that had come out at that point. There were no really good pictures,
Right.
like what we've got now. You can call up all sorts of stuff.
Right.
So we were kind of fudging details. And, what you see in the show, it's like it's all covered with hair. And I didn't know what the sculptural details were like. So I just, did what I especially with the hands, you don't really see the hands all that much. And that's how I figured out that this was mine. So we got in line today, and we go through the thing, and we get up to the case, and I don't want to take too much time because, of course, there's a big line of people. So I'm really quickly looking, and I look at the hands, and it's like, yep, that's my crappy sculpture. Yeah, wow. I mean, you could just tell. It's like I knew instantly that's what it was.
That's so funny.
Well, basically, what had happened was when we built these things, we delivered them. There was a second phase that they were going to do, where they were going to do the keeper, the Telosian keeper, and I was lobbying hard for that one because that's my favorite character, alien character from the original series. And then, it was gone. They just decided they weren't going to do it.
That's too bad.
These figures get packed up, put in a warehouse, probably on the studio lot somewhere, something like that. A couple years later, they were doing creation conventions in Pasadena, the Star Trek conventions, the Grand Slam, I think they used to call it.
Yep.
And Paramount had a booth there. They were selling something. I think it was with Motorola because they were doing the StarTAC flip phones, and they had a couple of prototypes that looked like old school communicators, and they were seeing if the fans would buy these and stuff. And there was the Gorn, and there was the salt vampire just standing there. Wow. And they'd been beat up a little bit at that point. There was some paint chips, and the salt vampire was missing teeth, and then it disappeared again. And then recently I've heard there was a gentleman named James Cawley who back east was doing these really great Star Trek fan films. And he had built the original sets in some storefront or something like that they're absolutely screen accurate. They're, the bridge, engineering, all this stuff. Wow. And so he made a few episodes, and then Paramount sort of clamped down on that and said, you can't do these things anymore. But he made some sort of licensing arrangement. So they have an original series set tour that you can go to, and you get to walk around, take pictures, and do all this stuff.
That's cool.
And part of it is like a museum of sorts. And I guess they had the figures there for a little while and whatnot. So friends took pictures of that stuff. Yeah, all over the place. And that was 5 or 6 years ago, I think. And since then, nothing. And then suddenly here it is again in this thing. And I thought somebody else must have made a figure by now. And
that's great.
It's the same one.
And that's great. All those residual checks you're getting for that.
Oh,
too.
yeah, it was fantastic.
Must be set for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a dime. Yeah.
And it's like this sun, that you have out there that, every once in a while shows up again.
Exactly.
And, hey, it's been a while, but, I still think about you.
Yeah. Can I borrow the car keys? Yeah.
And it's interesting you should talk about the hands because looking at that salt vampire, that was the thing I was drawn to. I was like,
oh my God,
these hands are so good.
Yeah. No,
seriously.
Mark.
Sucker hands.
Yeah, the sucker hands.
Yeah. Again, we kind of didn't know how many suckers were on the hands. I mean, you see so little of it when he's grabbing Kirk's face and stuff. And that's, so we just sort of, all right, I think this is the right,
And that's, I think in that area, it's fine to do a little artistic license.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think anybody cared. And several people who were in line behind us, you all stop and pose and take a picture and,
I love the concept of that walkthrough too. I mean, it's great.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. You kind of, it touched on all the different series, everything from Discovery to Lower Decks to Classic. But it was cool. I mean, obviously it could have done more, but for a little, kind of walkthrough pop up thing, whatever, it's cool.
And I like how they put you in at the end as an example of humans in the zoo and whatnot. Right. And when we got up there, we thought they would just take one picture. And it turns out, you get 4.
Yeah,
and we're like, what are we going to do?
It's more like you're being attacked by a monster. Yeah, Gina and I did it too.
Yeah, and most people were, as Erin would say, my wife, Erin, were reacting to the light in the thing. And it's like, no, you don't understand. You're in a zoo. You're in a cage. Play it up. So, yeah.
Right. And it seemed like it turned into like a little weird motion movie. Like with all the 4 pictures together.
Oh, wow.
You can see them. And maybe that's just how I saw them on the phone, but it looked like that.
Okay.
Like a little movie.
We actually haven't, we got the little card with the QR code to download. We haven't downloaded ours yet.
Oh, you got to check it out.
I'm curious about picture number 3 because Erin had a beautiful improv where she decided, animals in zoos mate right in front of you. So she just jumped on me and started,
that'll be the one.
Yeah.
I've been hearing all about picture number 3 all throughout the convention.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
So yeah, that was an unusual thing that was very
That's
unexpected.
great.
Yeah.
Now, it seemed like it was pretty clean. It seemed like somebody
Yeah,
had
it looked like
cleaned
it was
up.
pretty- Did they touch it up?
Someone has cleaned it up in recent years. The paint job has been It's because again, that was another thing. The original photographs really didn't show us what the color was. So another gentleman that I worked with, this great artist named Shannon Shea, he did the paint job on it, and he decided to go with sort of like a yellowish base color, which really helped it pop. But I don't think it was screen accurate, because now we've got the remastered versions. You see everything in 4K or whatever.
Color corrected 4K.
Yeah. And so this was good. And like I said, we had like little resin teeth that we stuck in there, and they'd just been knocked out over the years. So he's got just little spots in his gums where
Well, as you get older.
Yeah.
So somebody was it Tom Spina, or Tom Spina Designs. There's a gentleman out there who does a lot of these restorations of famous movie props and things like that. I don't know if that was the person who did it, but it had that kind of feel where the hair was nicely done, and they obviously spruced up the hemp costume and whatnot. And
Still one of my favorite Trek monsters.
I love it.
I mean, the first time I saw that in syndication as a little kid, I was like a cool monster.
Scary.
It was scary. It was a great idea. Like assault vampire. Like great idea.
Yeah.
And if I may, as a little segue, when we drive down to San Diego for the con for the last couple of years, we take Monster Party with us as sort of a transition, if you will, from the real world into the world of nerddom. Yes, and it's great. It really gets us in the mood as we come down here. And I'd seen your social media announcements for your most recent episode, Worst Aliens, and we had to listen to it on the way down, and so that was fun because, like I've said several times before, when we do this stuff, it takes me back to my time in the shops where I get to sit around and have nerd discussions with my friends. Except in this particular case, I'm yelling out stuff at the radio in the car, and it's like nobody's listening to you, Mark. Shut up and drive, But you guys were talking about things, and I was hoping for more Space 1999 content because
it's such a
stuff.
It really does bug me because, as I said on the podcast, there are so many wonderfully aesthetic things about that series. But my God, how could they drop the ball so horribly with their monsters?
Yeah.
At that point, they didn't care.
No. Blame the Americans. Apparently, there's a documentary, the Space 19, the documentary about it.
Yeah. But like in the first series, you had like Christopher Lee with like the long silver hair and Peter Cushing with the weird gold face. And like you had kind of like Talosian type creature, but they were like cool at least. But when you got to the out and out monsters and men in suit monsters, they're just terrible.
Fred Freiberger did not care.
I'm sort of changing my mind about him in recent years. Well, for one thing, they did a Space 1999 convention on the actual date. The famous date of the show.
Yeah.
September 13th, 1999, there was a convention in Los Angeles. It was attended by about 75 people, I think. I mean, it was really weird.
Went to that.
Did you?
We went to that. And there was nobody there.
There was nobody.
Gina and I went to it was a little teeny thing like
yes.
that.
Yeah.
And they did they made the whole room look like the inside of the
main mission. Yeah, right.
It was beautiful.
There's something also, I have a little bit of a bias towards Space 1999 also because it was supposed to be the second season of UFO.
Yeah.
And UFO was such a fucking cool show.
It was, yeah.
Interesting characters. I mean, weird and dark. I mean, so was
but
the first
60s groovy.
Yeah. And which the first season of Space 1999 was too. But also, I can see why it was very metaphysical. And it was purposely sometimes the first season of Space 1999 very kind of slow moving and kind of obtuse
and a little cold
and weird. Yes.
Oh yeah.
But then
very Kubrickian. Yes.
But that's kind of how UFO was too. I love those characters. I love that show. I wish they did it because I think it was supposed to be. The second season of UFO is going to be almost all taking place on the moon.
Yeah.
And I love the moon-based stuff in UFO. It's fantastic. Yeah. So I wish they just did that because I know by hiring two big stars, Barbara Bain and Martin Landau, there's all kinds of issues. That's what made UFO great is we didn't know those actors were just those characters.
Yep.
Once you put in big stars, it changed the whole dynamic.
And they were a pain in the ass. You have the same Blu-ray set, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and you saw that whole thing with Sylvia Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy, does she hate them.
Oh yeah, she held back nothing. She
No.
was-
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to go back to that convention for a moment, I remember we didn't stay that long because again, it was like, the dealer's room was about the size of this room and
Yes.
it was terrible and nobody was there. All the guests, most of the guests had apparently crapped out on them
Oh,
except
wow.
for a couple of the first season stars.
Right.
Barbara Bain, I think, was there.
She
right?
did show
Yeah.
up, and Barry Morse shows up for everything. He was a really good
he was
guy.
great, yeah.
But Fred Freiberger showed up that evening.
Oh, really? I didn't remember that.
And that's pretty ballsy for a guy who is routinely hated by the fandom and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he defended himself well. And and I think he was brought in by ITC New York and whatnot to kind of, let's right the ship and and they cut the budget.
Aim more for kids too, I guess. Were they going for?
They were going for a younger thing because they had to bring in, younger, prettier.
Maya.
And
Yeah.
then the humor too.
Yeah.
Like this is not an alien necessarily. I guess you could call it it's an alien robot. But do you remember that robot that was voiced by Bernard Cribbins? And
Oh my God! Yeah,
that is the worst.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, it was just goofy and strange, and it was really unfocused. At least the first season was its own kind of thing and its own approach. But like, you just got the feeling nobody was running the ship in the second season.
They do say that there was a lot of miscommunication where, going into the second season, apparently New York, the American audience wants monsters. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
scramble to make monsters. And about halfway through, it's like, why is everything monsters?
And did you notice that they literally, there's one, the big goofy kind of almost frog head looking monster
Yeah.
suit, they use about 3 times.
Yeah.
It's like, it's ridiculous.
Well,
They
that's-
just-
Is that the Maya one?
No.
Well,
It's a
she
different
turns it. She may at one time turn into that suit, but like I remember the first time you see is in David Prowse plays
Yeah.
the monster, and that the idea of the episode is fine. It's a monster run amok on the moon base and nothing stops him. Great, but
Yeah.
the monster's that goofy looking fucking monster, and then it shows up later with horns on it. They just reused the 3 same monster suits for the whole season.
Well, that was a pretty shocking one. And if you watch the episode again, the central concept of a monster loose on base and you can't stop
Yeah.
it is great.
Great.
But the motivations are hilarious. The alien has sent him there to pick up a piece of their life support system.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, sure, why not? We'll
Yeah.
let that go. And
Yeah, it
and
makes
then
no sense.
The cloud monster that's controlling him laughs like a Republic serial villain.
yeah.
So it's so
like,
terrible.
What is this?
But David Prowse, in one scene, there's a thing where they try to trap him in some sort of vacuum chamber.
And he catches on fire or whatever.
Oh no! This is to get him to keep him in there while the safe door, because it's one
Oh,
of these
yeah.
big bank
It's
vault
giant.
doors that closes slowly. So Tony Verdeschi he grabs a fire extinguisher and he throws it at him. And you can hear David Prowse on the soundtrack. They didn't cut it out. He gets hit in the gut with the thing because he can't see in this
Really?
outfit.
Oh, my God.
And you hear him go, "Oh God," or something like that. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Now I gotta watch
Yeah,
that.
you got to watch it again. It's really amazing.
I gotta
Wow.
see
Yeah.
that.
But as a kid, that was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah,
just
the Beta Cloud, I think
Yeah.
it's called, right? Yeah.
The second season, for as ridiculous as it was, I still love, and I know you feel this way too. It's just, there's something about that show and the look and the feel.
Absolutely.
I mean, the premise, the initial premise of the whole show is just, to quote Biden, malarkey. But yet,
Yeah.
I just find it compelling.
Oh, completely.
To this day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love especially when you realize that it took me years to realize this, like they never blew up a model of the Eagle on the show. Every time they blew things up, I mean, sometimes it's obvious they do a quick jump cut to an explosion or something, but then you find out there's certain episodes where they're using a cutout with a photograph, a cardboard cutout, and they blow that up, and it's like now you see it in Blu-ray and in high def, and it's
funny.
like, wow, look at that.
Wow.
I mean, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I always thought too, like there must have an endless supply of Eagles
Yeah.
because they were just every episode a couple blew up. Like wow,
Yeah.
geez. yeah.
Now, Mark, you said you had another story too.
Well, okay, that may have been overselling it. My big story was the Salt Vampire one. I think I wanted
Thanks
to talk.
for being on the show.
Okay, yes, this was fun. No, it was nice being able to walk around because again, we didn't go last year. The year before we did go, and it was a little weird because we were coming out of COVID, and obviously the year before that.
Right.
So it was nice being back in it again. We weren't here to see anything in particular. And so it was just nice soaking up the energy. And
Cosplayers are everywhere.
oh
and
yeah,
just,
yeah. There was a mecha. Yeah, well, of course. Snake
James.
Plissken. We always love to
We
see
always
him walking
love it when
around.
he shows up because we always think he's dead.
There was this Mecha Godzilla walking
Well,
around.
that I think was from the Godzilla booth.
was
From
it?
the
yeah.
Bandai booth.
Yeah, they
Okay,
had
that was an
Godzilla-
official one.
Yes.
Okay.
They had, I guess it was a Godzilla 2000 maybe looking
was the
Godzilla
later
suit,
one, yeah.
but the suit was fantastic, and the Mecha Godzilla, they were fantastic, and you were
Millennium
posed,
Godzilla,
posed for pictures with them, and it was fantastic. That's one thing I want to say about this year's the huge presence of Godzilla at the con this year.
Yeah, yeah.
And like and Larry, you've said this, and this is true. I agree with you with this. Regardless of what I think about Godzilla versus Kong, New Empire, and legendary films, they have brought attention to Godzilla. And you looking at the con this year, every era of Godzilla is represented, and you see little kids looking at like a Showa Godzilla character, and like there's just this appreciation for Godzilla. He's a lot more. He's really in the zeitgeist right now. Like it's really cool. So it's
Zeitgeist. Nice.
he's alive and well
Yeah.
in pop culture still.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Well,
that's very cool.
Godzilla -1, I believe, was that the?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
You've seen
just
that, right?
spectacular.
Oh,
yeah,
so
Yeah, I
good.
mean, it's amazing. So that's really cool.
So amazing that someone made a Godzilla -1 energy drink that
Yeah,
you can
I mean, come
only
on.
get in Japan.
really.
Larry went out of his way to have this stuff shipped from Japan to us.
That's right.
And
That's what I'm on right now.
yeah.
That's why.
That's what's keeping you going.
Yeah, that's
right.
why all our pee will look like blue later.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
glowing.
Yes.
It's great. Yeah,
Just the way I want it.
yeah.
Well, Mark, it was great that you could come here and party with us.
Thank you so much for
Always.
having me. As always, yes, this is so much fun.
Always great to see you.
Always good to see you. Yeah.
And we got to do this again very soon.
Yes, hopefully not at another convention because
No,
that does
no,
seem to
let's-
be where we're seeing each other.
We
lately.
need to go. We need to go to a home or something.
That
like
would be
Let's
nice, yes.
because I'm ready. I mean, it is summer, and so I mean, I still have all the films, and we can play those in the backyard.
Ooh, yeah,
Really?
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
nice.
That sounds like an idea.
Could be a good time.
all right.
So let's make it happen.
That needs to be arranged.
And you're all invited.
Thank you.
Why, thank you.
Thanks again, Mark, for being with us.
Oh,
buddy.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Mark Tavares,
Thank you.
ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen. Well, this has been great.
It has been great.
Yes.
This has been
It's-
just great. I think the Godzilla energy drink has gone through me.
You're crashing now.
Yeah, I'm
Larry,
crashing.
it's 2024. We're still here doing Comic-Con, this monster party.
I know, it's amazing.
awesome, right?
It's amazing,
Through thick and
yeah.
thin, all the crap going on in the world, we're
That's
still
true.
together
We're
doing
s- we're
this.
still
That is-
together.
You know?
That is true. That
Right?
is true.
You know, despite what it might sound like sometimes, I still love you guys. I know you love me.
likewise,
It's a
likewise.
love fest. And
It varies from person to person.
It
but
varies
yes.
the level of
Yeah.
love. Yes.
Yes.
The commitment. And yes.
Hey, I showed my love by getting you the damn energy drink, okay?
We're not debating it.
Larry's love, I have no doubt of.
Of course.
You'll never be allowed to forget it.
But also, also what was nice was from Film Masters, they
Yes.
actually sent us
Oh, yes.
T-shirts from
T-shirts.
One of the
Devil's
uh,
Partner,
The
yes.
devil's
Yes.
partner.
One of the films that they put on Blu-ray that we did the audio commentary for, Roger Corman's released, Right Hand of the Devil,
And
which is great. We have T-shirts.
great T-shirt.
Yeah.
So
We love Film Masters.
Film Masters is great. I really enjoyed that film. I
Yes,
loved
yeah.
doing the
It's
commentary
great.
for that. And so to have those, it feels like, we're part of the team.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got our little uniforms.
That's awesome.
We're ready to go.
Love
We're going
it.
to put on our sunglasses and we're going to just hit the streets.
Yes.
Well, on that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And go every year you can to Comic-Con. I'm never going to go to sleep again. So this is Larry's new leaf, where he's like, why does it have to be this? Why do the action figures fucking each other?
Well, hey, you know what? In the past, they've always been, curious little, happy little golems, hanging on things and stuff. And
It's only oral.
It's not. Yeah, right. That's legal in every state.
that's going to be your new T-shirt.
According to some presidents, it's not even sex
Right. Yeah. And if you don't swallow,
Well,
or inhale.
let's just not get political. Let's just
All right.
stay
swallowing
coming.
political.
It'll be soon.
Hey.
Hey. Just officially Comic-Con 2024. We're calling
Yes.
this, right? Okay.
So can we start?
Let's do it.
I think we should.
Hey, ladies, beautiful ladies. We're going to start this
Beautiful
now.
ladies.
Oh,
So shut your traps.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't sound good when it comes from you.
It doesn't. You sound like
It's the Godzilla drink. The Godzilla drink is affecting me. Come on.
We are childless and we have cats.
Hey,
oh.
I do have a cat.
you know what? Coffee doesn't make itself. Okay.
Meaningless. It's not. You guys are so proud of yourself.
No.
Yes, I am.
Boy foods again? Is this where we're going?
For listeners who might be catching this,
you're just tuning in.
this is all just good
Shouldn't you
fun.
be binding your feet or
No,
something?
okay.
Oh.
See, this is just this is little jokes.
No, we
jokes.
all of this we mean absolutely seriously.
Tiny little joke.
Yes.
It starts off as a joke.
And Matt's a big prankster and likes.
Well, this has been great.
This has been great.
You're a prankster.
Okay.
But it was weird hearing that come out of Sean. He's like some little henpicked guy.
I'm telling you, it's the Monster
Energy.
Energy drink. It's Godzilla's energy drink.
It's Godzilla.
Okay.
But we know that it's not like this in real life. That
No.
You're the one with the chastity belt.
This is Sean -1.
Meaning his wife.
Okay.
All right. You all right? You okay with everything? We might say some off-color things. We might have a little fun.
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah,
Is that going to be
I
all
know.
right with you?
Sure.
Do I need to run this through the censors?
No.
Standards and practices?
No. Let's keep it loose and fun and hip.
Loose, hip,
And hip
for sure.
Yes. Wow. All right.
For the kids out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Listening.
Meaning new zoo review level of humor
Okay.
and discourse.
See, the funny thing is, I hope you're not ripping on the Newzoo review because
No,
the
I'm
Newzoo
just saying-
review was
Yes,
wonderful.
Yes, but
Yeah,
it's for
yeah.
children.
It was.
yeah.
It was for children, and those and Doug and Emmy Joe. I'd like to say,
Emmy Joe.
Come on.
Emmy Joe.
they're still. they're
Speaking
still,
of not for children.
No. They're still no. They
where's
are.
that calendar?
They're still married. They're still married.
Oh,
but
damn it.
They are going. They were here at Comic-Con last year.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You had a nice talk with them.
Well,
Yeah.
I did, and they're lovely
I'm
people.
sure they're lovely people.
And they were just-
Does she still wear the go-go boots?
She talked about that. She talked.
I wanna hear her talk about
She gave away all those boots years ago, and her daughter's
To
trying
the
to
Go-Go Boot Foundation?
No,
For children?
No, you have some old clothes. Come on, like the ladies know you have some old
You know
clothes.
the lady. Hey, you ladies.
and
you got your
like the
shoes
ladies,
and,
you know.
and your
You donate
smocks and your gingham.
Your aprons.
You've had something for 10 years ago. I don't wear this anymore, and you take it to Goodwill or something, right? They're kind of all nodding, kind of.
Yeah.
Or,
You know, like when you're baking and you got your aprons.
I didn't say
When you're
that.
making your own bread.
Churning butter.
For your man's sandwich.
Comic-Con 2024.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a manwich.
There was the manwich.
There was the manwich. That was good. Can we all agree that we liked the manwich?
Tonight's episode, horror and sci-fi manwiches.
I'm not sure I've had an actual manwich.
Oh,
but,
you will.
But we digress.
It's going to be a different Comic
We're
Con.
gonna. This is for the after party kind of thing.
it
So
is.
we're
I
gonna
thought
get
this
to
was
the
the
show.
after party.
No,
Yeah.
no. Yes.
Yeah, the before party turns into the after party.
All right.
All right, here we go.
And what are we calling this again? It's
Comic Con 2024.
okay.
Do you know where you are?
Yes.
Okay.
Sean's place.
Sean's Place.
Sean and
Welcome
Gina's
to
hotel.
Sean's Place.
That was the It came on after Pryor's Place.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And Jonathan Winter's Attic, wasn't that? Yeah, that was a great show. Do you remember that?
I never saw that.
Oh, yeah. He would go, Jonathan Winters would, each episode, he would go into this attic set and he would just grab something from the set and he would riff on it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was the greatest
Oh
thing,
my
especially
gosh.
like in the 70s or
I
whenever it
gotta
was.
see that. Yeah.
It was awesome. I've tried to find some and I think I found one, but
Wow.
yeah, that was great. Because that's like really that's the show for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, perfect. Exactly.
know,
yeah,
Not
don't try-
playing Mork's child.
Oh my God, no.
This reminds me of that panel I saw the other day, where you just kind of
Save it for the show.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying that? So what we're doing now is not entertaining. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's entertaining.
Maybe you want to be on another show. Maybe it needs to be Larry Party.
Can you imagine?
I
Yes.
can.
Oh, Larry party. Hey.
Hey.
All right, that's what should be called. It should be called Hey, the Larry Party.
Hey, Larry Party. Today we're going to talk about books with big cardboard pages.
Yeah,
Stain resistant.
This is what happened to the Beatles. You know, it all started.
Well, this is their psychedelic stage. This is our psychedelic stage right now.
This is the yeah, right. This is the everybody kind of hates each other.
Sean,
Right.
Sean is really
Where's
enjoying
the
this
Maharisha?
Godzilla energy drink. Okay.
Yes. All right. Maybe we should start.
let's
If you
do
want to be
this.
professional about this,
Yes,
maybe you
let's
should
do it.
fucking let me start.
All right.
That's what you're hearing.
Yeah, you can close that door, that window, though. So
You know, the thing is, it does give it atmosphere.
Lord.
No,
Yeah.
I don't want it to sound like we're in some,
yeah.
Now and then we can give it sort of a film noir feeling.
Yeah.
or something. It's like, welcome to Monster Party. We're under fire.
Monster Party. She walked into the room. She wasn't holding a cup of coffee for me. Josh, well, he's the fucking rock star. Here we go. Let's do it.
Oh, should we give him some Godzilla energy drink?
You can if you want it. Do you want to stay up for the next 4 days?
I need to drive tomorrow.
Glow in the dark.
No. It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
You might have a sensitive gullet or something.
Sensitive gullet.
I do.
Larry Strothe of the Old West.
Tarnations. What tarnations is happening here?
So is everyone having a good time?
Yes.
You have a good time?
I'll say, partner,
To Frontier
why don't
Lands.
you slide me a sarsaparilla for my gullet?
A Red Bull on top of your Godzilla.
Yes.
Yes.
God,
Yes, I
Larry,
am.
Jesus Christ.
What are you, my mother? Come on.
Larry's gonna vibrate
If I'm
into
gonna
another dimension.
live life dangerously, then by golly,
Will die by.
My gosh, by
you know,
golly.
really,
What is that?
who cares?
Okay,
We should get going
Josh
because
is patiently waiting.
yeah, and I don't. Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
He's here, damn it.